What is up, team? And welcome back to the Technical Foul Podcast. As always, you're joined by the three of us. I'm Jack Anderson. To my right is JP Pusilowski, and to my left is Sanders Oakley. And we're back for our second show of the day. For aforementioned reasons, me and JP leave town, so Thursday's show wasn't really viable. So we're here to preview the weekend games a little earlier than we normally do. Boys, I know how y'all are doing, but let's just reiterate in case someone's catching this show and didn't catch the earlier one. How you been, JP?
I've been fine.
Perfect. Sanders, how you been?
Great. I got my new jersey hanging up. I wore it. Made a wardrobe change halfway through last show when we started talking about the Chargers, and now it is hanging up because baseball season is over for the Padres. So I took down my Tatis jersey and put up the Justin Herbert jersey. Although with the injuries, I'm concerned that the Chargers season may also be over. We'll see.
At least have more games. It's not
True. It's not
officially
actually over.
over.
It's not actually over.
Well, we're here to preview the week of college football, like I said, and the week of NFL upcoming. We'll do the college football games first, then the NFL games. We'll have some JP best bets. No state game to preview this week.
We'll be
which is
doing
pretty
our top
interesting.
25s, the
Yep,
people poll top
correct.
25. There's going to be a lot of content.
Because once again, we typically do our top 25 reveals Sunday, but we didn't have time for that. So we're doing them today, and then we'll get into the people's poll, like Sanders just said. And there's been some heat stewing about these rankings. So
I think it's directed at me, but I can't keep track anymore. All this vague ambiguity.
we'll find out, I guess.
I guess we will. Do we want to start with ours?
Yes, we are going to start with ours 100% before we reveal the people's rankings. And I can go first. I don't mind.
Yeah. They're up there.
My top grouping stays largely the same. I did flip A&M and Oklahoma. Oklahoma didn't play. A&M got a pretty big win at home, but as an A&M fan, I want to see more consistency from the group and less penalties, and I've still not seen that. So that's unfortunate. The big droppers, Penn State and Texas, both dropped fully out. Second loss for Texas. They have massive issues with their team currently. And at this point in the season, I'm not sure they're going to get fixed. And then Penn State took one of the worst losses in recent history on the road at UCLA. That's just inexplainable. You can't excuse it. Unexcusable is what I was looking for. Just cannot happen. So there's some movement. Notre Dame is climbing. A bunch of people are climbing because of it. Missouri jumped 7 is another big jumper. UVA is up to 14 after a road win at Louisville. I loved what I saw there. Illinois is climbing back. Iowa State only dropped them 6 for their loss. I'm pretty high on Cincinnati. They joined the rankings. And so I wasn't going to punish them too much for losing that game on the road by one score. BYU joins the rankings for the first time this season for me. They've not really played anyone yet, but they've not lost yet, so I will reward that currently.
The exact same boat they were in last year.
Correct. And then Washington rejoins the rankings after pulling off a win against Maryland. So happy to see them back as a Washington fan. Thoughts, concerns, disagreements,
No, I'm not going to.
angers.
Nope. 0 angers. JP?
The school up north is too high.
Okay.
But that's just because I hate them.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
no disagreement there. I know, obviously, you have Ohio State over Miami. What is your argument for Ohio State over Miami?
I've watched the games, and that Ohio State defense is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
And that's the best unit in football. And the offense is not too shabby either. I've liked what I've seen from Julian Sayin in the running game and that offensive line. So, yes, the Texas the Texas win has lost some shine, but that's still the best team in football to me. So that's why I still have them 1.
All right.
Down with that. I'd also would have Missouri a few spots higher, specifically over those 3 teams that have lost a game.
Fair. In my mind, it's like I think been a little late coming around to the Missouri train. I still would like to see them beat a legit, really good team.
Sure.
But I jumped them up 7, and I'm looking to keep moving them up more as the season progresses.
They'll move
But
up
that's
after
fair.
this week.
Yeah, okay. Who's next?
Spoiler alert. I'll take the
Okay.
reins because we know where the flack is going.
Oh,
And
boy.
He would. I mean, don't even have to lie about it, to be honest.
I appreciate the honesty.
My poll, as it is, I have Ohio State as number 1 team in the country. Miami, I have flipping with Oregon, and then the top 7 stays the same. Miami just got a big win against Florida State. That was the question, or one of the questions we have at least of them at this point. We haven't seen them play on the road. They dominated Florida State on the road, a game Bama struggled in. They did not struggle in that game whatsoever. So I have them moving up to 2. And then, like I said, I keep the top 7 the same. Texas was my 8th team in the country, and they're out after a poor showing against Florida. I wanted to give them a credit for being competitive with my number 1 team in the country, which is why they stayed top 10 for so long. But bad performance against a Florida team that has lost to USF at home as well. Sarkisian this week said that, there's 132 teams in the FBS, put 131 of them at the Shoe and then at the Swamp. How would they do? The last team to win in the Swamp is the USF Bulls. The last team to win in the Shoe is the Davis Warren-led Michigan Wolverines. So I don't know
It's
if
a
that's
pretty poor quote from
necessarily,
him.
Yeah.
that good of a take. I hate that kind of feeling. That's now he has done that. Kirby Smart has done that.
Dabo did it.
Dabo did it. It's not a good look for
We got head coaches in college football being okay with losing.
some of the best head coaches in the country. Yeah, it's just terrible. I hope Dan Lanning doesn't do that at some point if they were to lose a game or lose this weekend to Indiana, which I don't see how a quote could go that way, losing to the Hoosiers at home. But I hate to see it. It's sad to see. But Texas is all the way out. And because of that, a bunch of teams just move up a spot. All these teams won, and a bunch of them were on bye weeks as well. I have Mizzou moving into the top 15. Virginia got a big win over Louisville. They move into the top 16. I have Vanderbilt moving up a spot, and that's because Penn State was ahead of them and then dropped all the way out. And I don't think anyone behind them besides Virginia and Mizzou had an impressive enough week, to be honest. I think that they deserve to be where they're at. I thought they were still impressive against Alabama. Late backdoor cover by Bama. Otherwise, that's a close game. They just turned it over in the red zone, and that was really the difference in the game. But they were kind of on par, talent to talent at least, for the most part against Alabama in that entire game, and they deserve to stay where they're at because of that. Notre Dame moves up to 18, Illinois up to 19, Arizona State jumps all the way up to 20, and then I have 5 teams that jump into my ballot that were not on my ballot last week. Washington, like Jack said, I agree. An impressive win at Maryland to go to 4-1 after a loss to Ohio State. BYU's in there, but they haven't played anybody. Nebraska, I have moving in to the top 25. Their only loss is to Michigan. So year 3 Matt Rule is still in effect. They also beat Cincinnati, which is why I have them ahead of Cincinnati. And Cincinnati not in the poll. And then Memphis and USF, the 2 American teams, join in. I wanted to potentially put North Texas, but USF has a win over Florida, and Memphis has a win over Arkansas. That's SEC wins.
Sure.
North Texas does not have that. And so that's why North Texas doesn't hop in with the 3 American teams.
They can fix that if they win this weekend.
Correct.
Yep.
But that does it for my poll. Questions, comments, concerns. No, Ole Miss is not too low.
You have Ole Miss too low, and but that's really my only issue. Sanders,
No, I'm good.
cool.
Right
As
on-
it should be. It's a very close poll to Jack's. So
Yeah, nothing
I'd be
too-
surprised.
Nothing too different. Well-
Here is my. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Mine is up. I'm pulling it up on our other screen as well. I think that there will be some criticisms coming, so fire away.
Well, you get to start.
Oh, yeah, I
you
forgot.
wanna
I
explain-
forgot.
you get to
Yeah,
state
I'll
your
go ahead,
case.
I'll go ahead and explain.
We can question first if you'd rather that.
No. I'll go ahead and walk y'all through it. Miami gets a big win against Florida State to add to a resume that already includes Notre Dame, South Florida, and Florida. It's the only road win they have currently, but 2 P4 wins if you count Notre Dame as a P4 team, which I think like most people would have them in that tier. Oregon and Ohio State both drop one as a result of that. Oklahoma and Texas A&M sit there. Alabama moves up 3 after a win over a team I like a lot in Vanderbilt, jumping Indiana, Texas Tech, and Ole Miss. 2 of the Ole Miss was on a bye. I don't remember about Indiana, Texas Tech. I believe
Texas Tech got a
played
massive
Houston.
win in the cage. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
guys.
Texas Tech gets a huge win against the Houston Cougars, and they drop one because Alabama played a better team. Georgia sits there. Georgia Tech moves up. Michigan jumps 6. Some of these moves, so like some of the bigger moves in the teens are just because teams that I had in the teens lost. Teams like Penn State and Texas, who I had both ranked in the teens. Iowa State drops, I think they dropped to 24 after a loss. Other teams with wins jumped them. So that's why you see some of the bigger movement. Virginia jumps from unranked to 15th. This was a win after the Florida State game. I had some questions. Could they do it again? They go on the road to an undefeated Louisville team that I liked a lot and get the win. So that's why they kind of see it's almost like they get a double boost because they confirmed after the Florida State win that like they're a good team. So that's why I give them the boost up to 15. Missouri continues to win. Bo Prabula continues to be really good, so they jump all the way up to 17, 6 spots. BYU, Cincinnati, Nebraska, and Old Dominion all join the top 25. Old Dominion is my undefeated shout-out, but also they've got some good players, and
they're not undefeated though.
Not undefeated.
They lost to Indiana.
That's what it was. They have lost to Indiana, so that's why I've got them ranked just for a shout-out to a lesser-known team. And
Sure.
also, I've been seeing like some of their players highlighted all over Twitter. So I was like, this is a fun team. So I wanted to be able to highlight them with my 25th spot.
Sure. We can just scroll back up to the top first because you're exclusively a resume ranker.
Yeah.
So I don't hate Miami at 1. But then Ohio State, in my opinion, has a much better resume than Oregon because both their big wins took, a hit this past weekend. But Ohio State does have a win at Washington, which is, in my opinion, a better win than any other second win on Oregon's schedule. So it's like if you're going to have Miami at 1, I would have Ohio State at 2 is my issue there.
I'd also argue Oregon's resume took a bigger hit because Penn State lost to UCLA
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Here's what I'll say about that.
with an interim head coach.
And someone that doesn't know how to call plays.
What I will say about that is in the same way you say LSU didn't beat the same Clemson team that we see right now, I don't think Oregon beat the same Penn State team we saw go on the road to UCLA.
But that's not resume then. That's based on you're looking at who was on the field and what the profile of the teams were.
That was also only a week ago.
I think a lot changed in that week. Maybe you disagree, but I think Penn State players and coaching, I think that the losing another big game has gotten to them.
Maybe so. The other big thing is if you'll scroll down a little bit.
Oh, can resume based? Why is A&M not higher?
Because there are other
They won at Notre Dame, so
Yeah.
Miami's best win is hosting Notre Dame.
mm-hmm.
A&M does
won.
have the number 1 strength of record in the country.
At Notre Dame, they've also beaten 2 SEC teams. Miami's beaten 1 SEC team.
Yeah.
We're getting SEC.
Yeah.
SEC.
No, it is majority resume. But having watched A&M play against Mississippi State, there are, I think, a lot more question marks about the A&M team than the Miami team.
I understand that at a base level, but I think if you peel the layers of the onion, Texas A&M has shown that they can win games multiple different ways.
Yeah.
So
We have no weakness actually. It's just like we could our weaknesses are inconsistency. You
Yeah.
don't actually look at a unit of our team and go, "Oh man, like that's something other teams can pick on."
No, y'all are great everywhere most of the time. But if you have a week where one position group is bad, where Marcel Reed throws 2 or 3 interceptions,
Thankfully,
you
I think
just
that's
win 31-9.
yeah,
I think hopefully that's what Marcel Reed doesn't throw picks normally. So
yeah.
he may throw 1. I hope if he throws 3 in a game, I'll crash out.
Yeah, Jack, you can continue.
Okay.
You wanted
Scroll
to scroll?
down a little bit to like the early 20s. So Iowa State drops below Cincinnati, right?
Mhm.
Because Cincinnati just beat Iowa State.
Yeah.
But Nebraska beat Cincinnati earlier in the season, and
Uh-huh.
they're neck and neck. So I don't understand Nebraska being behind Cincinnati. You
Forgot.
forgot. Okay, that's what I was curious because
Yeah.
it was week 1, but Nebraska has the head-to-head win over
No,
Cincinnati.
that was just me filling out like the 20s and being like, I want to rank all these teams and
sure.
not
Because
remembering that those teams played in week 1.
both are deserving, in my opinion, of being right around that range, but Nebraska got to be ahead of Cincinnati if you're going to put them back-to-back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the Old Dominion ranking is potentially your worst ranking ever. Did Utah lost last week, or what happened with them?
Bye, maybe?
They were on a bye,
Yeah.
so they lost the bye week.
At bye, got him.
They were 25th on your poll last week in Old Dominion, and their win over let me find their big win from last week. Sun Belt. Big win over Coastal Carolina.
Huge.
I think I get you're just trying to give a shout to a lesser-known team with 25. We've been known to do that before. But it also just like Old Dominion isn't the best group Sun Belt team, in my opinion. It's JMU.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, if you're going to rank one but not the other, I feel like you got to have JMU ranked and not Old Dominion. But I understand it's just like you wanted to give the Monarchs
Yeah.
some love. Anything else, JP?
Yeah, Ole Miss is too high.
That's
Um,
no, they're
I'll go ahead
just
and
not.
Solidify that.
will shake
As much as I hate it, as much I don't want to rank Ole Miss this high, like, and I mean, they should be higher. I don't know where they are in the AP poll this week, but you have them at 4, Jack.
I have them at 4.
I think that's a little high. I still think that Oklahoma should be ahead of them.
Does Ole Miss have a better resume than Georgia?
Yeah, I would say so. Being like you didn't lose a home game. I think that
Well, Kirby Smart said it's Bama. Everyone loses to Bama, so it shouldn't really count.
that is true. So Georgia's basically undefeated.
Correct.
I think that not losing that home game matters.
Okay.
I shook your hand because you've circled around on Virginia and now have them
Yeah.
in a much better spot compared to unranked last week.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
No problem. Anything else? We got to move on.
That's all I have. Yeah, we're good.
Cool. That was fast. We'll keep it moving fast. I think that this is going to be the show of trying to be fast in places that we can.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and move on to the People's Poll.
Sure. Do it.
This is the People's Poll. We vote in this every week. It's a website I created, T25sports.com. If you see the rankings I'm about to show you and think they're wrong, you can add your rankings to the mix, and it moves teams. Everyone's ballot is weighed equally, but it's kind of like our own AP poll that you can submit and we submit and everyone submits, and then you can see the ballots that everyone submits. So I'm going to put it up on the screen and walk y'all through it. Ohio State is at 1. It's close. We've got 5 first-place votes for Miami, 5 first-place votes for Ohio State, but someone has Miami down at 4, and Ohio State's lowest appearance is 3, so they win it by 2 votes or 2 points. Miami
Good.
does move up 1. That's kind of, movement. That's the only movement in the top 5 or the top 6. Texas Tech and Indiana do a little flip-flop because we are weighing, I guess that Houston win was more impressive than what it was Indiana on this week. A bye.
Bye.
So the Houston win moves in Texas Tech over Indiana. They switch. Couple teams in the early teens are all going to move up because I guess Penn State and Texas both fell out of the top 25 entirely, neither of which are receiving votes. No, Texas is receiving 1 vote. They are ranked 24th, but Penn State is not receiving any votes. Virginia jumps up 7. Illinois jumps up 4. Iowa State drops 5 after losing. Still ranked ahead of Cincinnati. So Iowa State's at 20. Cincinnati's at 24. And then Cincinnati on the big is also at 24, and Nebraska's at 25. So Cincinnati's receiving 6 votes to Nebraska's 4. So
Someone just loves Nebraska in that.
someone's got Nebraska at 15.
That'll do it.
Yep. That's
Chuck March, by the way.
Yeah, we're about to. So
yeah, talk about.
we can get to that.
I was gonna say, talk about weighting everyone's ballot equally. I think we may need to amend that approach.
He also has Texas ranked.
All right. I haven't looked at the individual ballots in detail yet. I'll walk through the big stuff, and then if we want to highlight some other funny things.
Texas being ranked is bad. It is not extremely awful.
It's pretty close to extremely awful.
For Chuck March, the resume voter, it's actually pretty awful.
Yeah.
But
If you're just ranking on like who you think the best 25 teams, yes, there are
Yes.
probably not 25 teams that would beat Texas in a game.
correct. So, but yes, Chuck March as a resume voter.
Yeah, as another resume voter, we were texting about it last week. That is, yeah. Anyway, 10 voters so far. I think that's still where we're at is 10. Same as last week, but it's also Tuesday. This is more than we had last week on Tuesday. 16 teams appeared on every ballot. There were 3 teams that appeared on 9 of the 10 ballots. Vanderbilt, Chuck March did not rank them. Again, has not ranked them yet, even though they have a win over his, at the time, number 5 team in the country, but that doesn't really hold any value now.
Holds
At
a
least
little.
he unranked them immediately after that loss, so I guess he...
Well, yeah, because you lose to lowly Vandy. You
Yeah.
you got to drop out.
Illinois, Cromie did not rank Illinois, and then BYU, CCDF, the 5th, did not
I'm fine
rank
with that.
BYU. The AAC adds a team in Memphis. The ACC loses a team. Big 12 adds 2 teams in Cincinnati and BYU. Big 10 sits there at 6 teams. SEC loses 2 teams down to 9. And then Independent sits at the same with Notre Dame. Teams that dropped out: Mississippi State, Florida State, Texas, and Penn State. I mean, hey, if Mississippi State could be in a group with Penn State and Texas, I don't know what the label for that group is, but it's a good group to be in.
Teams that dropped out of the
Yeah.
People's Poll, I
And-
think is what we'll label it as.
Yeah, but yeah, those are some of the highlights. Any ballots or anything else that y'all see that's of note?
Cromie has Texas Tech at 3, solely for the Houston narrative.
He did not rank Houston though.
Well, yeah.
But like
They
you
don't have
lose
the
to the number
resume
3
for
team
it.
in the country, you should be punished too much for that. I'm
Well,
surprised.
and you lose
They-
your QB, and you get robbed by the refs.
They
Yeah.
didn't just lose; they got
Handled.
kinda handled
Yeah, but
like we did.
yeah. Oregon all the way down at 7.
Yep.
Which I believe is he dropped them.
Oh, 100%. He probably saw that they beat Penn State, and then Penn State can't beat
Yeah.
UCLA. They can't beat Nico Iamaleava.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Let me go double check that. Yes, he dropped them 5. He dropped them from 2 to 7.
And then there's 5 people that have voted Miami to be the number 1 team in the country. So we are no better than the 8 people.
So what is your issue? I know you have issues with my voting approach and all that. So set that aside. What is your issue with Miami at 1? Just like by an
They're
AP
not
voter.
better than Ohio State.
That's also where I'm at. Because also, your coach is Mario Cristobal, and the coach does matter. And Mario Cristobal is a not good fourth quarter coach. He's not a good clock manager. I don't think he approaches in terms of when to be conservative and when to stay aggressive well at all.
Yeah.
And that does matter.
Yeah, it almost burned them in the Florida State game. They
Yeah.
took their foot off the gas. They went into preservation mode, try to shorten the game to make sure it's a win. And because of that, Florida State cut it to 6 and had an onside kick away from potentially going down to score a game-winning touchdown. So that's been a question. Of course, the Georgia Tech loss from 2 years ago, I think, puts you on first place ban forever.
Is that where they
Um,
ran the ball when they should have taken a knee?
Correct. And they fumbled the ball. Georgia Tech, Haynes
Got
King,
it and won it.
where legends are made. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. They're just not better than Ohio State right now. They are really, really good, and not to burn out their candle by lighting someone else's, but they're amongst that top 3. They're just not better than Ohio State. I think those are kind of again, like we said last week, inarguable top 3 teams in
Sure.
the country. But even their resume isn't enough for them to be higher than Ohio State for me. They were really, really impressive, but Ohio State has made football boring by being so dominant through 5 weeks. Or 6 weeks, I should say.
I mean, they're giving up. You mentioned earlier, giving up 6.3 points a game
Yeah, it's the lowest. Hold on, I had it.
since 2019-2020 Wisconsin.
Yes, it's the lowest
Through
we've
5 games.
seen. Actually, I can't confirm it's 5. I had to do October 8th because like looking at the stats, there was no. It's not week by week. It's
Yeah.
like date. So this is the lowest points per game a team has allowed on October 7th since 2019-2020 Wisconsin, and they were allowing like 6 point or I think they were in the 5s maybe. Hold on,
5.8.
5.8.
5.8
But I mean they ended up finishing in the upper teens, which like
makes sense.
yeah. Once you get into Big Ten play, like that's the thing. Ohio State has played some Big Ten teams, and they play Texas, but who knows what Texas is offensively. But yeah, I mean, still 2 big wins for them in that at Washington. So who knows? Their defense is absolutely dominant.
I know.
Yeah, I think Shout out you.
Shout out JP.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Cool. I think that's it.
The people are too high on Ole Miss.
Okay.
That's it.
That's. So you think in a game between Ole Miss and do you think there are 10 teams that beat Ole Miss right now?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Do you want me to list them?
You think there are 11 teams that beat Ole Miss right now?
I do think there are 11 teams that beat Ole Miss right now.
All right. Who does Ole Miss play this weekend?
They
Is it? It's not
Washington
the Georgia game.
State.
Is the Georgia game next week?
Georgia game is next week.
What's up, Andrew?
Good reinforcement, Andrew.
Yeah,
I
he's-
agree. Well said, Andrew.
Yep, he's here. Letting us
Best
know
chat of the day, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he also too high on Ole Miss?
No. I mean, yes, he is. I didn't see where his power was.
Yeah, he's
sorry.
got him at 6.
But he's correct on Ohio State, which is all that matters.
All right.
And I
think,
don't even necessarily disagree with his Oregon ranking.
Where does he have Oregon?
Above Miami.
Okay.
It's more important to have Ohio State 1 out of the 3 than who you have 2 and 3,
Correct.
in my opinion. Shall we get to the Technical Foul fan game of the week?
Hold on. There was something. This was unrelated, but it was a tweet that I bookmarked. Did y'all see the New York Times article about Arch Manning?
I did see it. It's a bad article.
I haven't read it, but the headline and everything is just, it's pretty tough.
I haven't seen it.
A name synonymous with failure. Arch Manning.
Let me read you. So this is the New York Times. They tweeted the article from The Athletic. Many people are having a bad year in college football, but Arch Manning is having one of the worst. The quarterback has gone from preseason Heisman Trophy favorite and projected #1 NFL draft pick to a man synonymous with failure. And then the cover is Arch Manning college football's first flop? There's just so many things wrong with that.
No.
Yeah, but like even if you want to call Arch Manning a flop, which like it's he's played 7 games and he's played 5 games as the real starter, like it's a little early for that, but we've had flops before. So it's just I don't know what whoever was writing that article was on, but they were on something for sure.
Sure.
Now we can get into the technical foul game of the week.
Yeah, we had scramble to get this one put in. And it is USF, the Bulls, go to North Texas, the Mean Green, for a big game in the AAC. Both teams, South Florida has a loss. North Texas is undefeated. USF is favored on the road by 1.5. Any initial thoughts on this game, or do you want me to give my thoughts? It was a last-minute ad, so I don't know what what if y'all got to do notes.
Oh,
on
yeah.
it or
Yeah.
anything.
I also did. So go ahead, JP.
So the total 68.5, meaning they expect this to be a barn burner. It's the highest total of the games we'll predict this weekend, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the highest total tied for the highest total out of all of the top 25 games. The other highest total this weekend is Arkansas and Tennessee at 68.5. These kind of games with where it's not like these teams are not built on depth of talent. I think quarterback play makes the biggest difference in it, and I think we actually have a really good matchup in Byron Brown and Drew Messmaker. Messmaker is not. It makes sense that he's the quarterback at North Texas because he's not great from a mechanics standpoint.
Well, you know why, right?
No.
So
I
the
don't.
story with him is he got to North Texas early, like early enrollee last cycle. Their QB, I believe, was hurt, so he ended up being the starter for the bowl game. But he had not played. He started for his high school at quarterback since his freshman year of high school. He'd been playing safety and punter for them until college. So
Interesting.
there's probably
Did he
pretty
come
good.
out as a quarterback recruit?
That I could not answer.
Okay.
I would hope so.
I wonder. I'm gonna pull up on Rivals and see.
But regardless, it makes a little sense that he doesn't have the best mechanics.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that shows. Although with that, he has been terrific. 90 PFF grade, 11 touchdowns, no picks. North Texas hasn't really played anybody, and their most competitive game was 2 weeks ago against Army. They had a big win at Western Michigan, but against Army, and Army turned it over twice very early on with fumbles, and it helped North Texas a ton, gave them short fields, and they took advantage of it. So this team is kind of on par with Army, but a lot of these American teams are going to be about the same. I just think, personally, Byron Brown is a better quarterback than Messmaker, and I think that's what's going to tell the story in the game. Whoever plays better at the quarterback position, I think, wins this game. I don't think this is a depth of talent kind of game, because Carson Beck had worse numbers than Tommy Castellanos this weekend, but Carson Beck ended up winning the game. So I think it's one
Sure.
of those kind of games where the quarterback play tells the difference, tells the story, I should say.
what's
I
up?
think. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say what's up, J Dub, and then I was gonna say he is listed as a quarterback on Rivals. So
Yeah.
I guess they were going off of his freshman tape. 0
That or-
stars.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think Byron Brown has to play well for South Florida to win. North Texas has had some good rushing success. There's a guy I want to highlight, Caleb Hawkins, who's another true freshman for this North Texas team. Has been increased carries every week, like started at 6 week 1. I think got 16 this past week. But his stats so far, 7 touchdowns on 42 carries and 22 missed tackles forced on those 42 carries. So if they can get him going. He was great against South Alabama last week. That was the game where he got his 16 carries. He has 6 touchdowns in his past 2 weeks. He's someone that I think could be the next great group of 5 running back in terms of, like, the Ahmad Hardys, the Mekhi Hughes, even though that transfer didn't work out. But he's
Yep.
someone that could really make a name for himself with this North Texas team. So I just wanted to highlight him. If he can alleviate some from Messmaker, because I think that's why Drew Messmaker has been good and hasn't thrown any picks, is because he's not really had to do a ton.
Chinese fire drill, Whitehead. That's what I would say. Quickly move to the next stall.
That is brutal.
But that's a fair take with Caleb. I think he had 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns against Army. I agree. Byron Brown does have to play really well. He is the engine of the USF offense for the most part, for them to have a chance in this game. And with it being a shootout too, he's going to have to play really well since he is the engine of the offense so much. North Texas can get big plays from Caleb Hawkins. Byron Brown is he still the leading rusher for this team?
He is.
Yeah, so he's still the leading rusher, obviously the leading passer. He has double the amount of carries of the next closest running back so far this year. So he is the engine, again, of this offense. And, yeah, he's going to have to play really well for South Florida.
I think there's also an avenue here, which may not happen in this game, but the health of Byron Brown down the stretch of this season is going to be huge for South Florida because he's just taken so many hits. He's running the ball so much.
Yeah, it's very similar to Haynes King, Georgia Tech.
100%.
Very similar playing style. They use them about the same. So, yes, it will be key for South Florida going forward. They're not even halfway through yet, and he has 64 carries already. So, through 5 games, it's a lot of hits, a lot of falling down. They've got to protect him. He's got to protect himself a little bit more, but they need him to win this game. So, I think protection is going to be something he really considers.
For sure.
On Friday night.
The position group I wanted to highlight is actually defensively on both sides because it's linebackers for both teams. When I was doing my research, go to PFF and look at offense and defense. If you sort defense by grade, it's just linebacker for North Texas, and then also the same goes for South Florida. A couple guys, Ethan Wazlowski, Trey Fields, and Shane Witter. All of them have over 20 tackles. Witter leads the team with 33 tackles. He's got an interception. He's got a forced fumble. Weslowski has a 90.3 PFF grade right now. He's got 2 sacks, 21 tackles, a forced fumble, 5 targets, and 0 receptions allowed. So he's not allowing any receptions. He's got an interception. He's got a pass breakup. So he's sacking the quarterback. He's getting tackles. He's playing coverage. Like I said, 0 receptions allowed. And then Trey Fields with an 80.3 PFF grade. That's the lowest PFF grade out of the 3 of them. He's got a sack, 28 tackles, an interception, and a pass breakup. And then if you look on the other side, you have some more elite linebackers in Mac Harris, who has a 90.5 PFF grade, 14 pressures, 4 sacks, 31 tackles, and a pass breakup. And then Jalen Schuler, who leads the team in tackles, has a 64 PFF grade, but he's got 39 tackles, a sack, and a pass breakup. So the middle of the field defense for both these teams is very good. And especially when you've got a rushing quarterback, linebackers are one of the best counters for that. You put a guy in spy, or you just, watching the quarterback. That's one of your best counters for a dual threat quarterback. But the linebackers for these teams they're all great.
Sure. Brody plays for the Mean Green and has the last name of Wazowski, basically. So all I can think of is
Mike
Wazowski. But yeah, that's a good point, especially for the Mean Green linebackers facing Byron Brown. I think we're ready to pick this game, though. I mentioned earlier the spread is South Florida favored by 1.5. Sanders, what's your pick?
Okay, JP, in a spread with the over-under, you said is one of the it's the second or tied for the largest in top 25
For total
total
points.
What did I say? Over-under?
You said spread.
Total is one of the tie for the largest total.
Yeah, 34 apiece.
What does that typically do? I feel like when you have larger totals, I feel like spreads would typically be farther apart, or am I backwards on that? Because when you have more points scored, there's more variance, like you win by a touchdown. Like, if points are being scored super quick by both teams, it's a lot easier to find yourself in a 2-touchdown game or a touchdown game as opposed to a game that's going to come down to like a field goal.
I don't think they're really related that much.
Okay.
I think there's reasoning to use it for picking a side in a bet, but I don't think Vegas,
Okay.
take that into account whatsoever. I think they're 2 completely different calculations. Because at the end of the day, that's what spreads are, just calculations.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to pick North Texas then.
Sure.
I'm going to give them the home team, and
you get 1.5 as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to take North Texas as well. I'm a Texan. I got to stand by my boys. I think they have a legit shot at winning this game as well. I'm going to be watching Caleb Hawkins closely, as he's someone I discovered this past week. I'm very interested to see what he can do, but give me North Texas to cover.
So this will be Friday night, North Texas from Datku Stadium, another Texas stadium with 5 letters making an acronym or something.
Sure.
Tedesco Stadium.
Yeah.
With Houston in the cage. But Datku Stadium, I don't know if they have a sick name for it. I don't think it's going to hold the same amount of home field advantages the cage does, although that it wasn't proven this
about
weekend.
to say I don't know that they had much of a home field advantage.
The president canceled Friday afternoon classes in an
North
effort
Texas?
to get people to the game.
I'm down with that. That's sick. But Byron Brown's better. I'm taking USF to win this game. Only 1.5. So that's fine for me taking them and the 1.5 as well. I think Byron Brown's better, and I want to get a leg up on y'all. So
Sure.
give me the Bulls to win against the Mean Green. I'm interested to see what the uniform contrast could be here, because this could be a very interesting green on green contrast. But we'll see.
Andrew McBride, does this change your pick, JP? Because the North Texas mascot is Scrappy the Eagle.
That's no freedom.
Yeah.
All right.
R.I.P. freedom.
R.I.P. Freedom.
Cool. Well, we'll find out. There feels more pressure on me, honestly, now that I'm the leader.
Yeah.
In the pick'ems, so I really need to perform. And it just hopefully my lead is not an insanity run where I'm only in the lead for 1 week and I relinquish it and never get it back
I would like to clarify too. It's only a lead
in the
in
college
college
football.
football.
Correct.
And-
That's I don't pretend to be an NFL guy,
Okay.
so we're just
Good.
going to ignore those numbers.
Yeah.
I'm putting all my stocks in my college football pick'ems and in winning that. I am 3-12 in the NFL, which is impressive.
Yes. I sit at 5-10, and Sanders is 7-8. But yes, you do have the lead in college football after a big weekend this weekend. But like you said, after last weekend on our Sunday into Monday morning show, things can happen and change within a week. So go ahead and take my picks because that's what we're due for. And
Sure.
go ahead and take USF -1.5.
All right, well, let's get on to the next game we're going to preview on the weekend.
All right, we got 4 games. We got Ohio State at Illinois, Alabama at Missouri, Oklahoma at Texas, and Indiana at Oregon. Where do we want to start?
Ohio State, Illinois is where I want to start.
Okay, cool.
Number 1 Ohio State, correctly ranked number 1 Ohio State at that, goes on the road to face number 17 Illinois at 11 a.m., 12 Eastern time, any other time you can figure it out. And Ohio State is favored by 14.5 points, so just over 2 touchdowns. Keys to this game, guys, what do y'all have?
Illinois needs to score more than 20 points
Okay.
to have a chance in this game. They got to get to 21, score 3 touchdowns. Because Ohio State, they could potentially hold Ohio State to 17. So I guess they got to score 18 points.
Yeah.
But they're not holding Ohio State under 10. This total is 49.5, so 24 apiece. I don't know how you have confidence in Illinois scoring a ton of points because Ohio State, as we said earlier, have shut down everyone. And they shut down Washington in Washington's building as well. I think Washington is a much better offense than Illinois. Illinois can do some things offensively, but they've already shown against Indiana that if they kind of get behind and pressure gets to them and Altmaier is forced into making really difficult throws, he does not succeed. And I don't expect that to be any different with Ohio State. So Illinois has got to score 18 points to have a chance. That's kind of their key to the game. For Ohio State, they just have to make sure that Illinois has to beat them. Saying don't turn the ball over, don't have any stupid fumbles, just keep special teams clean, no kick returns for touchdowns, stuff like that. They do that, they're going to be in control of this game. Spread's 14.5 for a reason. This is a game I think people are going to think is going to be pretty close, but if Ohio State just plays a midday for them, I think they still cover this spread.
Sure. It's just not close, right? We saw what this Indiana team did to Illinois. And I'm pretty high on Indiana, but I think Ohio State's in yet another tier above Indiana. So it comes down to Illinois being like, can they prove that the Indiana game was a blip? And that's not how they perform against teams of higher caliber, that they're closer to Ohio State than they showed in the Indiana game. But I don't think that's the case. I think they're not going to show it was a blip. They're going to show that they just can't hang with the elite teams in the Big Ten. If they do, I think they're going to find a way to get Sayan off his game. He's boasting an 80% completion rate right now. Illinois loves to blitz. You're going to have to try and get home, make them uncomfortable. Like you said, maybe try and pick them off a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, though, I don't think that's going to happen. I've liked what I've seen from the Ohio State offensive line overall. And then on the flip side, it's what does Lute Altmaier and this Illinois offense have against Caden Curry and Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs? And it's just, as soon as I start saying those names, it's like, how do you expect them to consistently move the football? I don't. So it's stuff like that I'm looking at. But I completely agree that I think this game could get ugly, and Ohio State can come out with the win, assuming they play the football they've been playing these past couple weeks.
Yeah, one of the things that Altmaier does a really good job at is he doesn't turn the ball over. He has 0 picks on the year.
Yeah.
And he did not have many last year. But I think he's turning it over twice this
Bro,
weekend.
I was about to say that.
Well,
and I have better
got him.
reasoning for it. Better reasoning for it.
Okay, add some additional reasoning.
We're 6 games in, he hasn't thrown in a pick. There are going to be graphics. There are going to be announcers Luke Altmaier hasn't thrown a pick yet. He's guaranteed to throw an interception
Sure.
because we're going to have announcer jinxes all over the place. That's my logic. And also, this is the best defense in the country and the best defense he'll face. He's going to turn the ball over. But
Yeah.
I had my notes. Oh my gosh.
Last year he threw 6 interceptions. The games where he threw interceptions at Penn State, at Oregon, there was 3 picks right there, and then he threw 2 against Northwestern and 1 against South Carolina in the bowl game.
Noted vaunted defense, Northwestern.
Now this game's at home, which I don't know if that helps him at all. He did throw 2 picks against Northwestern at home, so
Sure.
it's not necessarily
I don't think it's going to
an
be bumping
additional help.
and fighting Illini Stadium or whatever it's called.
But sorry for beating you to the punch, Sanders.
No,
but
you good.
that's good reasoning as well. Announcer jinx probably plays a factor. Big noon kickoff. Gus Johnson already. Hey, Altmaier has thrown a pick. There's a pick to Caleb Downs.
Disaster.
6-6.
Yeah.
Disaster. Yeah. It just nothing looks. The avenue for an Illinois win is really hard to find.
Yeah.
It's a UCLA Penn State. You start in 8 of 9 on third downs.
Yes.
Hank Beatty just gets open for 2 long touchdowns. You've got defensive miscommunications. Jeremiah Smith drops a couple big 3rd and 6s, and he has it and he drops it. You're missing Xavier Scott. He underwent surgery. We discussed him in our Illinois Indiana preview, and he's had surgery since then, so he will not be playing. He's their best cornerback, and so now you're playing without your best cornerback against the best wide receiver room in college football.
Up there.
Not ideal.
We saw what
Another- oh, go
Surratt and Cooper did to them.
Yes, exactly.
So-
Exactly. Maybe home field advantage you can get in Julian Sayen's head. It hasn't happened yet, but you have maybe he's a first-year starter. You can get something there.
Not in Champaign.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we're grasping at straws,
No,
but we've
you
all
have to.
basically already made up our mind.
Yeah.
So let's just pick this game and officially get our picks on the record. I'm going to take Ohio State to cover the 14.5.
Yeah, spread opened at 16.5. I'm taking OSU at 14.5. I would have taken them at 16.
I agree.
Sure.
So people are betting the Illinois to cover.
Yeah, it's too many points. 16 is too many.
Well, we saw 17 for a conference game is not too many.
Well,
so.
Well, that was a different story.
Yeah. Do you think Ohio State covers the 30 points that Andrew is predicting?
No, I'll take Illinois to cover 29.5.
Okay.
Do we want to throw an alternate spread up there and pick 30?
Nah.
Are there y'all going to pick Ohio State to cover 30?
No.
I
And I don't want to risk having a loss for
about
no
to say
reason.
I
Exactly.
would, so I don't want to do it because then it'd be just me against the two of y'all, and I don't like that.
Okay.
So we're all in Ohio State.
We are all on Ohio State.
Next up.
Let's do it.
What do y'all want to do next?
I'm just trying to go in order, to be
All right,
honest.
11 a.m.
Another 11 a.m. kickoff. Alabama, number 8 Alabama, travels to number 14 Missouri for Missouri's first big test of the season. It's pivotal for them to win this game and prove that they are a legit contender in the SEC. And for Alabama, it's just another chance to keep the ball rolling, to get another quality win on the resume, put that Florida State loss further and further behind them and gain some consistency. With that being said, Alabama is favored by 2.5 on the road. And what are y'all's key points to this game?
Like you said, I think the key one is Mizzou's got to show that they're among this class with the SEC and that they are going to be one of those teams that can win these kinds of games, which a lot of SEC teams have already proven this year that they can win these kinds of big games. State's proven it. Florida just proved it. You go down the line. Texas hasn't proven it. I'll go throw that out there. But these kinds of games, teams have already shown that they can win. Missouri's got to show that because that's almost an identical spot to where they were last year. The only difference is they get this game at home. They were 4-0. Go on the road to play A&M. Big game. Brady Cook gets cooked. They lose 41-10. They win 2 more games, including a win at UMass. Big game, 1 loss on the road in Tuscaloosa. They get cooked. They win against the struggling Oklahoma team. big game on the road, South Carolina. They lose 34-30. So, like, that's something they need to prove right now. Eli Drinkwitz has not proven that really at all. What's his biggest win? I'm gonna go back to
I'm also
2023 to
curious.
see if there is really that big of Kansas State at home. Maybe Tennessee at
I
home
think Tennessee,
in
yeah.
2023 where they destroyed Tennessee 36-7.
But that was kind of what had them in the spot where people were really high on them going into 2024.
Correct. And then they also beat Ohio State in the bowl game that year. They have to prove that they can win this kind of game, and I think they can. But in large part, I think it's because on the other side, for Alabama, they have to prove they can win a road game
They've already done it.
Yeah.
again.
Okay, there we go.
And they also
They did it at Georgia,
Yeah.
but this is still a struggle point for them, and has been a struggle point for them with Kalen DeBoer, and they are going to have to prove it again. Obviously this year they've already beaten Georgia on the road, and last year their road win was against LSU, a big statement primetime game. But in their other 3 road games, they really struggled against Oklahoma and Tennessee and Vanderbilt. They got their big primetime road game, but they've already struggled against Florida State. Are they going to struggle against Missouri? That's my biggest concern for them to put big weeks back-to-back together. They've got to – this would now be 3 straight weeks of huge games for Kalen DeBoer in Alabama, and they just got to continue to do that because that's just the nature of the SEC right now, is you have to go on these kinds of runs and be consistent across these kinds of runs. Because if they lose this game, they're sitting at 2 losses, and things might get interesting down the stretch because 3 losses, like last year, is not guaranteed to make the
Sure.
playoff. And they still have to host Tennessee next week, host LSU, and host Oklahoma, and they got Cocktober. So nothing's guaranteed. Iron Bowl is on the road in the plains at Jordan-Hare, so anything can happen there.
I said that 2 weeks ago, and you're like, they're not losing to Auburn. What's changed? No, I'm good. We sometimes we just say things. I'm just giving you a hard time. That is, I mean, going up against a running
They're
quarterback.
not losing to Auburn, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You can just say they're not losing to Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, probably.
Um,
I do have a fun stat about him, but I don't want to just throw it out in the middle of the segment.
Yeah, it's a great point about they got to do it back to back, especially since tough road game, very emotional at Georgia. You desperately need that when you get it. Then you turn around, you go back home, and you play a very emotional game again against Vandy. Considering they beat you last year, and that's very draining. And then you go back on the road to a good Missouri team, who just came off a bye, right? So ideally, Missouri's been sitting there; they're fresh and ready to go. So Alabama's really gonna have to battle both physical weariness and also like emotional and mental weariness, just kind of on the roller coaster they've rode the past couple of weeks. So I'm really interested to see how they handle that. And it's definitely a key to this game.
Yeah. The thing I'll be looking for is, like, how often is the Missouri offense on the field? That's one thing they've been the best in the country at over the past 6 weeks. They are first in the country in third down percentage at 60%, and then they're also first in the country in time of possession at 65.5%. So it makes so much, and they're also fourth in completion percentage at 75%. And so they are on the field so much, and they're not getting a whole lot of big plays, right? That 74%, I don't have their average yard per rush is 6, which is 9th in the country. I don't have their average yard per completion, but it's this kind of wear you down offense of like completing high percentage passes and not getting off the field, not throwing incomplete passes, not getting behind the chains, dominating time of possession. And it's a kind of offense that I'm interested to see how Alabama handles it. We all know, and I mean, I push this a lot, that Alabama has struggled with rushing quarterbacks in the past. Tommy Castellanos, and then last year's struggles with Jackson Arnold at Oklahoma, Diego Pavia. It's been difficult for Alabama. And now they go up against Bo Prabula, who is having an incredible season with Missouri, albeit, like JP said, against lesser opponents. Their biggest win of the year right now is Kansas at home. So having faced lesser competition, it'll be interesting to see how he looks. But how does that Alabama defense look? And then how does the Missouri defense look against the best offense they will have faced with Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, Jam Miller, making a huge impact in just 2 games. He's got 182 yards and a touchdown, so that's almost 100 yards a game. He's made a huge impact, and that's against Vanderbilt in Georgia.
Yeah, last week Jay Miller ran for 100 yards, 100 plus. That was the first Kalen DeBoer running back to run for 100 plus at Alabama.
Yeah. So he makes a huge impact in his first 2 weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
LT Overton, huge threat out of the backfield now. Really, really fun to watch. Didn't want Alabama to win either of those games, but there is no denying that watching that was a blessing.
Caden Proctor.
Him and Caden.
Sorry, Caden Proctor. I get the two of them. I don't know why I get them mixed up.
No, you're good. I was
Caden
confused
Proctor,
if I
thank
missed
you.
a play and LT
No,
Overton
you get
did
it's
but
Caden Proctor. I just read LT Overton off my notes. Caden
Sure.
Proctor out of the backfield, big threat. Very fun to watch.
they call that play crispy.
Yes, Krispy Kreme.
345.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, the quarterback battle is pretty big. The thing I want to see from Pribula is he's looked great. He does have a tendency to get himself into a little trouble trying to use his legs too much. He got sacked 4 times against UMass.
Yeah.
UMass is not a team you want to get sacked by 4 times, and so especially if they're going to want to stay on schedule and run the ball with him and Ahmad Hardy, you can't take the negative plays. You can't get sacked because you're just trying to make something happen that's not there. He needs to be smart, while at the same time, his legs are a big weapon, so he does have to utilize them and use them to make plays outside of structure. But he just has to be able to pick and choose his times wisely. And he's behind a great offensive line with Connor Tollison, Keegan Trost, Caden Green, who is injured right now and won't play. But they've given him a great supporting cast to work with Ahmad Hardy, with that offensive line, Kevin Coleman. He's in a good spot to succeed. Now he just needs to go and make the plays and avoid the bad plays to make it happen.
Yeah. And then another thing that I'll say is Ty Simpson is absolutely at his best in a clean pocket. That's kind of how a lot of his big plays against Vanderbilt came, because he's sitting back there for 3 or 4 seconds with no pressure, and then he's finding an open wide receiver because the defense secondary can't cover for that long. Missouri's got 2 good edge rushers in Damon Wilson and Zion Young. Both have PFF grades over 87. They both have over 20 pressures this year. Are they able to get pressure to Ty Simpson and force him to be faster in the pocket, and also give that secondary less time to cover those elite wide receivers, Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams? That'll be something, because Georgia did not have elite edge rush play. They haven't this year, and we didn't see it against Alabama. Vanderbilt, not known for their elite edge rushers. So how do these 2 guys look against that Alabama offensive line? Can they force Alabama to play faster?
And it is tough because the Alabama offensive line is continuing to get better week in
Yeah.
and week out. So, any other things you want to add before you pick this game?
No.
Cool. As I mentioned previously, Alabama is favored by 2.5. JP, you basically already said on the show who you're picking, so why don't you go ahead and go first?
Yeah, so I think this game potentially profiles very similar to Vanderbilt, Alabama last week. But I think Missouri is better in those kinds of spots. I think Bo's better than Pavia. Obviously, Ahmad Hardy is better than Cedric Alexander. And I think also being at home plays a huge factor and helps them as well. The noon kickoff hurts a little bit, but I think they'll be fine. I also, Alabama on the road, I have that to have to deal with. I just think Missouri is better than Vandy, and I think Vandy feels like they should have won that game if they take away those turnovers. They're in a much better spot. I don't think Missouri turns the ball over, and I think they go out and they get a win. So I'll take Mizzou to win, cover the 2.5, and be 6-0 halfway through the season.
Sure. I have a lot of things in my mind telling me to pick Missouri to cover. The fact that they're off the bye and Bama's had a tough couple games and they run the ball really well, and that's been a bit of a struggle for Bama, and I expect them to run the ball pretty well against Bama in this game too. But I just really like what that Alabama offense is doing right now, and so I think they're going to be able to do enough to come away with a win at Mizzou and cover the 2.5. It'll probably be a close game, but I'm just going to trust Ty Simpson to get the job done on the road. Give me Alabama to cover.
Yeah, I was just checking snap counts. Because Missouri just played UMass last week, and won handedly. I was curious to see if they were resting guys leading up to this game. Not really. Offensive line all played nearly 70 snaps, but Pabula played 68 snaps. So the starters were all playing 40 to 50. Defensively, though, they did. No one played more than 36 snaps on defense. So a lot of guys are getting snaps. I'm going to pick Missouri. It wasn't a bye week last week, but
Was it not?
no, they played
Oh,
UMass.
that's awkward.
Yeah, they played UMass last week, but that's why I was checking snaps because they were getting some rest for the defensive guys. So I think they're going to come in at least fresher because, like you said, Georgia on the road, Vanderbilt at home, two highly, very emotional games, loaded games for that Alabama team. So I'm going to pick Missouri.
You had it right.
They did have a bye, right?
Yes.
I was gonna say because
Wait.
you have it up there as week 5 on PFF, and I was like, I'm pretty sure last week was week 6.
Am I? Oh, I just read. My bad. Okay,
No, you're good.
it was a bye.
I was gonna say I really don't feel like I would have botched that, but
No, you
Cool.
definitely didn't. I don't know how I got that wrong. Cool.
it happens. Another spot for me to pick up a point on y'all is y'all both go Mizzou and I go Bama, so that's perfect. Let's keep going down the line here. Oh, we got a rivalry game, boys, and it's a bit of an interesting one. Number 6, Oklahoma goes to Texas after Texas drops the game and is in a bit of a panic mode. They really need this one. And we still aren't positive if John Mateer is playing, but I'm personally operating as if he is playing.
Pete Thamel said he's trending to play.
Yes.
But the spread
The spread closed
accounts
even
for
more.
him playing.
Correct.
Yes. So I'm going to choose to believe he's playing, and if he's playing, I'm going to choose to believe he's going to be effective, or at least, he'll be healthy. Maybe for some reason Texas's defense makes him be ineffective, but it won't be because of the injury, right? But Texas is favored by 1.5 at home. Key points for this game, guys.
I'll go ahead and start here. I don't think it matters if John Mateer plays or not. I think that the Oklahoma defense is going to tear apart the Texas offensive line that could not protect Arch Manning last week. They've got 4 guys with 2 or more sacks. R. Mason Thomas has an 82.2 PFF grade, 11 pressures, 3 sacks. They've got David Stone, a defensive interior guy, 86 PFF grade, 2 sacks, 13 tackles. Sammy Omisoko, a linebacker, 2 sacks, 13 tackles. Owen Heineke, a linebacker, 12 tackles, 2 sacks. The defense for Oklahoma is really, really good. They've got a safety, Peyton Bowen, who's got 11 tackles and 2 pass breakups with no touchdowns allowed. The defense is good, and Arch Manning has struggled against good defenses. He struggled against Ohio State. What's up?
Yeah, I'll let you finish first.
Struggled against Ohio State, struggled against Florida, throwing multiple interceptions. I just think the Oklahoma defense is going to be good enough to hold Texas to 17 points. And I think that even with Michael Hawkins, I think that they will be able to capitalize on the wide receivers they have there now that they're all healthy, that they'll be able to put up the points they need.
I feel like we're putting a lot of faith in Michael Hawkins there, personally, because also, I agree that this has a domination by Oklahoma's front 7 written on it, but they got dominated by Florida's front 7 last week and still managed to score 20-plus points, and I don't know if I really trust that Oklahoma offense to be a shoo-in to score 20-plus points without John Mateer, because it's going to be a quarterback that's inexperienced, and he's had another offseason, but he didn't look good last year, and they still can't really run the ball well, and that's the best way to help out a young quarterback is just be able to pound the rock, and they're not going to have to do that. They're going to have to ask him to create with his legs and make passes. So I don't really think that's a shoo-in in that regard, personally. I do think it actually really matters if John Mateer plays.
Yeah. JP?
Oh, it 100% matters that John Mateer plays. Michael Hawkins couldn't even cover the spread against Kent State. Jokes aside, I think it's matters a ton if Mateer plays because, like Jack said, I don't think you can guarantee Hawkins scores 17 points against Texas. Last year in the Red River, they scored 3 points. He was 19 for 30, 148. He was sacked 6 times, albeit with much worse receivers at the time, although Brennan Thompson did play in that game, and he's a GOAT. But 20 carries for 27 yards, mostly because of the 6 sacks. So even him and his best threat, his legs, was not really effective against Texas in that defense. And we think Texas's defense is better this year. At least I think some people think that. I think that. So that's all that matters. This is if Michael Hawkins is playing, I really like Texas, and I still like them to cover 5.5. This is a manhood test of a game. You are 3-2. Your season is on the line. I don't think a 3-3 running the table, maybe a 3-3 running the table 9-3 Texas team ekes into the playoff, but I refuse to believe it with how bad this first half of the season has gone. And so it's a manhood test for Steve Sarkisian. It's a manhood test for Arch Manning, for Michael Taff, for Colin Simmons. Show that you're deserving of this praise. Show that you are as good as people think you are. And, cook. Go out there, play a big game, a rivalry game. There's no reason to not be at your highest from an emotional standpoint in this game. The environment's going to be great. You're going to have 50% of the crowd be cheering for you, as opposed to the Florida and the Ohio State game where you had maybe 10 to 20% of the crowd cheering for you. So you've got that advantage to help you out. So it's not necessarily a road environment. It's neutral site. If Michael Hawkins plays, like I said, I really like Texas. I think I don't think OU gets to 10 points against this Texas defense, kind of like last year went, because they are not running the ball well. And I just don't trust Michael Hawkins to do what DJ Lagway did last week even.
Agreed.
I feel like the DJ Lagway was kind of a one-off, and his receivers made incredible catches the entire day. Eugene Wilson and Dallas Wilson both made incredible catches, and Lagway played like the star that he's supposed to be. Like, he was incredible in the pocket. Michael Hawkins is not DJ Lagway by any means. But if Mateer is playing, and I think if he's playing 75% or better, I really like Oklahoma in this game, because I think Mateer can score 24 to 28 points. This is the lowest point total for the top 25 games this week, 42.5, 21 apiece. I think if Mateer plays it, we hit the over. If Mateer doesn't play, we hit the under. And I like Oklahoma in a game that hits the over. I just think they score more than that Texas team would score against the Texas or the Oklahoma defense. I like that matchup better. I like Mateer and Oklahoma's offense with the way they've played, which they've played really, really good. That they have done an excellent job with Mateer at scripting the opening drive and at taking advantage of the key moments. The end of the first half, the start of the second half, the end of the game. That's where they've been incredible. In between that, they've had their inconsistencies. But with that, start of the game and those critical moments, I just have a lot of trust, a lot of faith in Oklahoma. And getting up early, I think, will help that defense play with their heads on fire. And if they manage that the end of the first half and the start of the second half well, then they're in a great spot, because I just don't think that we'll get that from Arch Manning in Texas. So I think it's kind of a two-pick. I'm going to assume Mateer plays. Because I said he was going to play 2 weeks ago. I still believe that. I just don't see how they keep him off that field. And so I would take Oklahoma and the over.
Yeah, I do think we definitely reserve the right to change this one if it comes out Mateer is not playing.
Yeah. What's the spread right now? 2.5?
1.5 in favor of Texas,
Okay.
according to ESPN Bet.
Which is
it's also 1.5 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
It would be 5.5 if Mateer were to not play.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And then if Mateer does play, it really is just like he needs to do his thing. And I think at that point it's going to be a thing of can Texas force some turnovers to help out their offense? Because if not, I just don't see this Arch Manning Texas team. And I keep saying Arch Manning because right now really the large part of the issue is not Arch Manning. They can't run the ball. The offensive line is terrible. But he's just the quarterback, so your name gets kind of tacked on top a lot. But there's a ton of issues with the Texas offense right now. But yeah, I just don't see them driving the field consistently on this OU defense. Now, Andrew did say in the chat this has like rivalry voodoo magic all over it, and I agree. It's like this feels like a game where we could be sitting there and all of a sudden Texas manages to drop 30 on this Oklahoma defense. It's like how the hell did that happen? And it's like, well, it's a rivalry. Stuff just happens. So, who knows, man? But I think we're ready to pick this game.
Well, we got to talk about the secret player.
Oh yeah, you're right. The secret player. Good catch.
Hold on, real quick. So Sven is saying Oklahoma is the best defense and Texas has a weak O line, and it may OU by 2 touchdowns. We shall see.
But he doesn't think Mateer's going to play.
Yeah, he
So
said
thinks
he can't
Michael
play.
Hawkins, OU, has 2 touchdowns on Texas.
We shall find out. We'll do the picks in a second, and we'll pick it as if Mateer is gonna play.
I do agree, though, Sven. Texas is so bad. So
JP, who do you think the player with the highest offensive grade on Oklahoma's roster is?
Is it up there?
It is not up there on that list.
you also can go by positions.
Yeah,
if
you can
want.
ask. Start to whittle it down.
It's a running back.
Nope.
Okay. It's a tight end.
Nope.
Wow. It's an offensive lineman.
Nope.
It's Michael Hawkins.
Nope.
It's
Clearly not Michael Hawkins.
to give you a little help. It's not an offensive player that has the highest offensive grade.
I pulled this up early. I just filtered by offensive grade, and this dude pops up. It's the punter. All right, but I'm gonna show you what his PFF stats look like, and then you try and figure out. He has 1 offensive snap, and he has no receiving or rushing stats. How does he have he has an 87.4 offensive grade. What do you think happened?
My guess is they ran a fake punt against Temple.
Nope, because then he would have a rushing, or if he was involved, he would have had the rushing or he doesn't have any rushing stats, doesn't have any passing stats.
Well, he didn't have to be involved in the fake punt.
True.
It was not a fake punt.
It was not a fake punt.
Then I have no clue.
It was a 2-point conversion. I'm actually going to pull it up because it's really funny. It's a 2-point conversion that he caught. And so because
Heard.
it was a 2-point conversion, those don't count towards your stats. And so he doesn't have a reception. He doesn't have any receptions. He doesn't get like a 2-point conversion reception. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to find it again. But it's actually this is it. This is him right here, number 87. He's the holder for the field goal kicks or for the extra points. And he catches it for 2 points.
Cool.
And so he gets a good PFF grade. Anyway, I just thought that was like a really funny.
Can we ask why they're going for 2 in the first quarter against Temple?
Well, it's one of those schools that does the weird lineup thing, and if they like
Gotcha.
the matchup they see, then they will
just
snap
take
the
it.
ball.
Fair enough.
Now this is interesting because they came in to kick it, and then they went to the weird lineup. So maybe this was already preset. But terrible job of, you have to play man. I don't know why we're not covering the guy.
Sure.
Anyway, that was just a
By
very
Temple.
goofy play by Oklahoma punter Jacob Ulrich, who now has the highest offensive grade on the team. Who we
Shout
want
out
to pick
to him.
now?
Yeah, let's pick it now. I got OU covering.
Yeah.
On the assumption Mateer plays, I trust him in the OU offense against the good defense, and then Arch Manning in the Texas offense against the OU good defense. So give me OU to cover.
I also have OU to cover. I've got them covering with Mateer, and then I would also have them covering without Mateer. But we can address that if we find out Mateer's not playing, we'll do repicks.
Boomer. Sooner. What's up, AD?
Boomer, Sooner for JP.
Welcome to the
OU.
chat.
All right, all 3 of us have OU, so no one will be expanding their lead on this game.
What's your favorite sports team, AD? Please let us know.
Next up,
The Mavs.
Indiana at Oregon next up.
Yeah, let's do them next.
It's our last one, so we have to.
Oh. Then, yeah, let's do that one. Indiana, number 7, Indiana.
No, hold on.
Yeah, let's-
AD has a very important question. Can we go back to OU Texas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is Michael Hawkins prepared? No. So Michael Hawkins last year in the Red River rivalry, or the Red River shootout, 19 for 30, 148 yards. He was sacked 6 times. He ran the ball 20 times for 27 yards. So I don't think he would be prepared for Texas in a defense that's probably better this year. They scored 3 points, albeit with much better weapons. They were without their top 5 wide receivers in that game. But I don't think he's prepared to play Texas, and I think they're going to push Mateer out there really no matter what, like any means possible, even if it's almost like for a decoy. Like he just throws it 6 times. Like they are gonna throw Mateer out there. I feel like.
Sure.
And I think they just trust Mateer even at 50% more than Michael Hawkins. And I'm sorry to hear that you're an Auburn fan, but Hugh Freeze is getting fired soon, so we're on the up from there, right?
Yeah, Auburn's sad face is the accurate description right now.
Man, why couldn't he gotten fired? He was my pick to get fired first too. Like,
You just got no ball.
yeah. Did any of us pick first? No.
Yeah,
Yeah, he got it right.
Who was it?
Brent Pry.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the other guy got fired a couple hours before.
Tomato, I'm counting it.
Okay,
Because
cool.
for all we know, he walked off the field and got fired the night of, and the
That's
other guy
fair.
got fired the morning of. It just
That's
got
fair.
announced.
It just didn't get announced. All right.
So I'm counting it.
Sven is early on this next one.
Well, I already put the graphic up and then we went back, so that's
He
why
started crafting his message.
He
So
knows.
fair enough. All right,
Wait, early prediction by JP.
we'll find out, I guess. Number 7, Indiana, goes to number 3, Oregon, for their second big test of the season. Though this one is much bigger than their previous big test that they passed with flying colors, which was Illinois at home. That one just pales in comparison to going into Autzen and playing Oregon there, one of the toughest places to play. Oregon's got a fantastic team, and that is why Oregon is favored by 7.5. Key points, guys.
Yeah, the Indiana wide receivers have been really impressive. Elijah Surratt having 388 yards and 6 touchdowns. Omar Cooper Jr. has 432 yards and 6 touchdowns. Both of them have like weird stat lines where they both had one cupcake game where they dropped like 2 or 3 touchdowns and like over 125 yards. So maybe you want to argue that the numbers are a little boosted by that, but they also looked great against Illinois. I think this Oregon defense is going to be better than Illinois. But if you look on the defensive side of the ball, Indiana also has some dogs. One of my favorite names that I've seen, Mario Landino. Fire name, defensive interior guy who's got 5 sacks. I love seeing a defensive interior guy get to the quarterback because that's typically like the edge rusher's job. Love seeing a defensive interior guy that can get to the quarterback. Other things to watch out for, like on the Oregon side, DeCorian Moore has been really impressive as a freshman, wide receiver, 296 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I'm really interested with the running back room. I didn't even put any running backs as like key players because there's like 4 of them that could get touches and probably will get touches. And so I didn't want to take the time to like list out all of the running backs. But
yeah,
if you've got thoughts, JP?
for the most part, they will rely on Jaden Lamar and De'Aaron Hill, but they've used Whittington a good amount. They've used Jordan Davidson. They like to use Dante Moore and his legs too in critical moments. Not afraid to run quarterback power with him. But for the most part, it's Lamar and Hill. But they, with their offensive line being so good, it's surprising considering all the transfers they brought in. Only one starter on this entire offense started for Oregon last year. So 10 out of 11 new guys, and they have really just been a great unit so far. They're going to run the ball well with any running back that's out there. Even Mekhi Hughes would run the ball well. But sadly, they are not running with Mekhi Hughes. So they're going to use their 2 running backs, DeCorian Moore, Malik Benson, Sadiq the tight end. Dante Moore, like I said this 2 weeks ago, but I'll say it again because I think it's critical to this game as well. He is a quarterback that trusts his receivers. He is not afraid to throw the jump ball. And DeCorian Moore, even with he doesn't have the biggest frame, makes these big-time catches, and he has made big-time catches throughout the season, made big catches against Penn State as well. Dante Moore's not afraid to take shots, and he's going to take shots against this Indiana defense. McBride said it is kind of surprising the spread is just 7.5, but I do think this Indiana team is just better than that team last year, both offensively and defensively. They were defensively dominant against Illinois, really shutting down Illinois in that offense that can run the ball and throw the ball well. It doesn't help that they're on the road, but their defense can show up. Their defense will show up, and their defense showed up well last year too, I'd argue. Even in the Ohio State game, it was just they could not move the ball offensively. So I don't think they're overmatched there from a defensive standpoint. it'll be it's going to be their toughest test of the season, no doubt, without a question, and especially on the road against in Autzen. But I think they're up to the task. I think Kurt Cignetti's going to have his guys up to the task, and they'll make it interesting. For them, it's going to be Fernando Mendoza has to cook. I don't expect this to be a low-scoring game like the Oregon Penn State game was. The total is 55.5, and I think the total on that game was near almost 40. It was very low. I think Indiana's going to be able to get not what they want, but they're going to be able to put their drives together. They've shown that with Surratt and Cooper, and they run the ball well too. They have 4 different running backs. They like to rely on Hemby for the most part, but they will go to different running backs as well. I think we're due for a shootout in Autzen. I think it helps a ton Indiana playing at what is essentially a noon kickoff game for Oregon, 12:30 kickoff body clock for Oregon. I think that's going to help them a ton. I think that dampers the crowd a ton, which I think will help Indiana, and I think they'll keep this game close.
Sure. I love that you brought up the running backs because I feel like all the talk's on Mendoza, but they've actually been running the ball 62% of the time, which I think is partially due to the fact they've been up huge in a ton of games, so you're just going to run out the clock. But Roman Hemby, Kalen Black, they have a good stable of running backs that they can rely on. And I think if they want to win this game, they're going to need at least some success on the ground and continue that going for them. As well as they're just a team that loves to make the big plays. You block the punt in the Illinois game, you're hitting big touchdowns. Continue to make those plays and find ways in the margins and the special teams, and then just big explosive plays offensively, maybe a couple turnovers. Find ways to make those plays yet again, and that's the way they have a chance to pull this off.
I also think that like Kurt Cignetti and AD said it well. If Cignetti can create a war-like mentality in his players, they can play with an upset in mind. I don't even know if like he's going to create a war. I think he's just going to have him ready to play. And I, not to get like coach speak, but he might hit him with it. Like he might not even think this is an upset. Like I think we're on par with Oregon. I don't know what approach he's going to take, but I'm very confident he's going to have the guys ready. Whether that's going in feeling that they should win or going in feeling like it should be an upset. Either way, he's definitely going to have them ready to play. Another thing that I'll look at, and this is another mental part of the game, is penalties. And I feel like this is like becoming my thing just because like the stats that I look at, like penalties are easy to find, and I think it can impact a game. Both teams average under 4 penalties a game. That's both top 15 in the country out of how many FBS teams?
132.
36.
136.
Anyway, they're both top 15 in the country, averaging under 4 penalties a game, which means that I think this is a really fun game to watch because one of the most frustrating things to watch when you are a fan of a team or not is just constant flag. This can be entertaining. Like Jack said, Indiana loves to put up some big plays. Oregon is the exact same. Both these teams are talented. Both of them love to score. They are both top 10 in points per game and opponent points per game. Both scoring over 40, and they're tied. They both allow 12 points per game from their opponents. So it's going to be fun, and it's going to be hopefully clean. So it should make for a really entertaining game at the 2:30 slot.
Sure. Real quick, what time is the OU Texas game at? Is that 2:30?
I think it's also 2:30.
So like, there are just no electric night games.
I mean
A&M takes on Florida in Kyle
A&M takes
Field.
on
You don't beat
Florida.
that.
That is a good one. And
Michigan, USC.
Georgia goes to the Plains,
Okay.
which is an interesting one. They were kind of hoping when it was scheduled 2 weeks ago that South Carolina going into Death Valley would matter, but it does not.
The Michigan USC game I think could be interesting. Both those teams have one loss, I believe, in the Big
Yes,
Ten.
It's a big one for
it's
that.
a critical one. USC's favored by 2.5.
Yep.
And then there's 2 Big 12, which are essentially Pac-12 after dark games because it is 4 former Pac-12 teams. Actually, BYU is still a Big 12 team, but BYU, Arizona State, Utah. So it's not that you get to watch Texas A&M kind of alone.
It actually won't matter, correct, because that's the game I'll have on. So what I'm hearing is if Kurt Cignetti wants to win this game, he needs to have his team watch Braveheart in the locker room prior, which is tough because you're going to have to carve out a good chunk of time to make that
that's like
happen.
3 hours.
AD, have you seen The Patriot by any chance? Also a fire movie. I think it's kind of feels along the same lines as Braveheart. So I'm just curious if
Have you
seen
seen
that
Braveheart?
No, I've not seen Braveheart.
Okay, we need to watch it. This is going off on a tangent, so I don't know if this segment's. Well, we have to pick real quick. We watched Braveheart together. I mean,
No, we watched The
we watched
Patriot.
The Patriot together, and bro, that movie rips your heart out. There's some sad, sad stuff. Have you seen that, JP?
No, I have not seen either.
Dude, it's 3 hours of your life, but it is well worth it. I have seen Braveheart as well. Also fantastic.
Which one do you like more?
I think recency bias makes me say The Patriot, but also because The Patriot is like about the United States, it's the Revolutionary War, so like hits closer to home
Sure.
than something in Scotland. And it also The Patriot. Oh, fire! The Patriot also has young
Heath Ledger's
Heath
in
Ledger, which is really cool. So I would say The Patriot.
it. Sure.
Um,
I can't vote because I've not seen one of them, and JP's seen neither. So
yeah.
I'll
Well,
have to trust
AD,
you.
which one? He's saying. I think he's saying yes. He's seen The Patriot. Which one do you prefer? And
Yeah.
then while we wait for him to respond, do we want to?
Yeah,
make
let's
our
pick this
picks?
game.
Yes.
Sanders, why don't you go first?
I'm gonna pick Indiana.
Okay.
I think Signetti
To
is
win?
gonna to cover,
Okay.
and because I have nothing to lose, I'll say I'll pick him to win. No, I'm gonna pick him to cover.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You don't sound sure.
Sorry, I'm.
You're reading.
I was reading the chat. Picking Indiana to cover. I think Indiana kind of impresses me every week, whether it's their dominance of lesser teams, even their dominance of like teams that are supposed to be in the same tier as them. So, yeah, I'm gonna pick Indiana.
Sounds like I need to watch Braveheart then. JP, what do you got?
Indiana wins this game.
Okay, wow.
I think I said it after the Illinois game that I felt this is a team clearly that was capable of potentially winning a game like this. They've got this one, and then they also will go to Penn State, which is a terrible football team now, but that's still a really tough game, and it will be at that point in the season. They have enough firepower offensively. They play well enough defensively. Oregon, they're both coming off a bye week, so there's no real factor there. I think with the way Mendoza is playing, that he is good enough at quarterback with the way he's playing right now that he could go out there and beat Oregon this Saturday. He's
Sure.
throwing the ball. I've said it 1,000 times already, but he's throwing the ball with a ton of confidence and a ton of conviction. And you have to do that when you play against a great defense, really, in Oregon and on the road. And I think he's going to do that. They have the weapons, too, in Omar Cooper and Surratt. I love both of them so much. And if they're able to run the ball with really any pulse, I think Indiana's able to score a ton. They're just going to have to get enough stops. I think this profile's a lot like the Penn State-Oregon game in the Big Ten Championship last year, where it was really a shootout all the way. Penn State was able to run the ball a ton. I don't think Indiana runs for 297 like Penn State did, but I think they score nearly to that same kind of level.
Okay.
I like the over, and if the over hits, I'd like Indiana to win this game outright. So
Sure.
obviously I'll pick them to cover as well. I would not bet Indiana, though, at plus 230. That's not enough value.
Sure. I'm not as confident in Indiana as you are. In fact, I would take Oregon to cover, but I'm following JP's betting advice, and that it's 7.5. If it was 6.5,
Sure.
I would take Oregon to cover, but it's not. I think Indiana can very likely keep this a one-possession game, so I'm going to take Indiana to cover, but I'm not going to predict the win. I'm loving what's going on in chat here. Sorry, I like talking movies.
Yeah, let's.
I've not seen Band of Brothers either, but talking about a good team movie, like I watched The Mighty Ducks a couple weeks ago.
Is that the? No, that's not. Miracle is the hockey, but Mighty Ducks is also a hockey.
Mighty Ducks
movie.
is also a hockey movie, but it's
Miracle
about
is
Pee Wee
overrated.
hockey.
Did not enjoy Miracle.
I've not seen Miracle.
You're just not an
300.
American.
300 is a good movie. 80. That is a good movie.
So, real quick, my question to the two movie chatters in the chat: you all's favorite movie of all time? I'll give you all some time to think on that as we transition to the NFL.
Do we want to? I put these games.
Oh, yeah,
bonus
we can
games
pick
to
those real quick.
Just real quick.
Florida goes to Texas A&M, where Texas A&M is favored by 7.5, so just over a touchdown. Big win for Florida last week. A&M is still undefeated. They knocked off Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, at home last week, and they're home again in a night game. They're my team. I'm going to pick A&M to cover the 7.5, though. I do think Florida keeps it close for a large portion of this game, but it's kind of become this A&M MO to just slowly stifle their opponents. And so I don't think it'll be a full. I trust DJ Lagway. He's made some improvements, and there's good receivers. Mike Elko said this is the most talented team we faced, and he meant it when he said it, even though we've played Notre Dame. But I'm still going to take my boys to cover the 7.5, not following the betting logic I just talked about.
No, I think that's fine. I talked about it last week after the state game that clearly the level of talent wasn't the same, but the teams at least were playing to that same caliber. The defense was playing with their minds. They were playing out of their minds. They were playing incredible. State was, that is, and they were playing above their talent grade. And if there's any kind of indication of that being true, is the spread this week in a nearly identical game. The only difference being State coming off of a huge emotional letdown against Tennessee, and Florida coming off a huge emotional high in beating Texas, and the spread is 10-point difference. So that's how far behind State is from a talent profile perspective at this point. So hopefully we can see improvements in that, and I think we will. The big news this week being that we've dropped players from our class for next year, and that I think is in large part to be able to spend more money on bigger recruits. At least it feels that way, and hopefully it goes that way.
Not if you listen to the Ole Miss fans. The Ole Miss fans say they all decommitted.
And also, there's
Don't
an
listen to
Ole
them.
Miss fan that says Levy is looking to become an offensive coordinator somewhere else,
Yep.
as if coaching as a head coach at an SEC school isn't a great job in
Yeah.
itself, especially Mississippi State, where the standards are not Florida. So, all of that being said, I like Texas A&M to cover. And, of course, win in this game. I think they played one of their worst first halves, and really almost like 2.5 quarters to not
Sure.
be able to really kind of move the ball against Mississippi State, and to be stopped inside the goal line was very surprising. And I can tell you the whole stadium thought it was surprising as well. I think they'll be ready to go against a much better defense in Florida, but I think they'll be ready to go. I think they'll score fast and score quick. I think they'll get out to a good lead. And I think the road environment really affects DJ,
Sure.
and they take advantage of that. I don't think they'll be able to protect DJ. I think Cassius Howell has another big game. DJ has another multi-turnover game, and
I'd like
Texas
that.
A&M wins and covers.
Sure. Sanders?
I'll also take A&M.
Cool. Parasite, Andrew McBride, Fire movie, probably top 5 for me. If anyone hasn't seen that, that's what I would recommend. Also, I did just realize my fly has been down for this whole second show. However, I don't think the camera can really see it.
I don't think so
we're just
either.
going to ride, but I felt like being vulnerable and sharing that with y'all. So we'll take that. The next one we're going to pick really quick, Michigan at USC. USC is favored by 2.5. Michigan has to make the trip to the West Coast, which is tough. But yeah, USC is favored by 2.5. I'm going to take Michigan here. USC under Lincoln Riley has just been this team I can't really trust to get the job done. Even going and losing at Illinois a couple weeks ago. Not that that's like a bad loss. Illinois is a good team. It was on the road. You had to make the trip. But they just don't often win these tightly contested games. Games that they, it's kind of 50-50, and they just typically fall short in the end. So give me the Wolverines to cover. Maybe a big game for Bryce Underwood. I would love that.
I'm going to go with USC. The thing I don't like about USC and that has been the Lincoln Riley struggle is defense. But I don't think defense is going to be as in high demand against this Michigan team. They put up 24 against Wisconsin, 30 against Nebraska, 13 against Oklahoma, and 34 against New Mexico. I think that USC can put up 30 to 35. Offense has been Lincoln Riley's calling card, and Jordan, one of the two. Jaden Mayava has been playing well this year. So I think that it'll be a shootout, but I think that USC's offense can carry him.
Fair. I think this game plays a lot like last year's games. So last year USC was 1-4 on the road in the Big Ten. Their one win being at UCLA. They lost at Minnesota. They lost at Maryland. They lost at Washington. Of course, lost the big one at Michigan. So the loss at Illinois shouldn't be a surprise, and they probably lose maybe at Notre Dame later on this year as well. They just don't do well with that kind of travel and that kind of trip. But at home, last year they played really well, especially at home. They won all of their Big Ten games at home except for the Penn State game that they lost in overtime against Penn State, and they also lost to Notre Dame at home. What were the stories of those two games? Offense was playing well even with Miller Moss in the Penn State game, and then Maeva was playing really well against Notre Dame. But on the flip side, they just couldn't get any stops, not because the defense was bad, but because there was a lot of firepower on the other side. Tyler Warren had arguably, it was a Heisman-level performance against USC, and then Jeremiah Love and that Notre Dame offense just picked apart USC all game. Michigan doesn't have that firepower, and because of that, I think USC is able to outscore Michigan. And if you outscore a team, you win the game. I think they outscore them by 3 or more, and USC wins this game. I don't think Michigan has the ability to score enough points against USC and win. So I'm taking the Trojans to win this game.
Yeah.
I understand y'all's feelings on it, but I think from a football X's and O's perspective, it just plays out differently.
That's exactly. Wait, I also picked US.
Jack.
Okay,
sorry.
I was about to say. Yeah, that's kind of I think that Michigan's offense is almost going to play defense for USC a little bit. We just haven't seen the high end play we saw. I don't know anyone in that Michigan team is going to have a Tyler Warren kind of game unless you expect it to come from Justin Haynes, and he maybe goes for 225 on the ground and a couple of touchdowns. But I just don't see that happening.
I feel like we are disrespecting the Michigan defense a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'll make my pick. Y'all make y'all's picks, and I'll take the point yet again over the both of y'all. Last one. Utah is favored by 5.5 at home against Arizona State. I'm going to pick Arizona State. I don't know if they'll win, but they're just gritty. They find a way to keep it close. Kenny Dillingham will tell you because they play a bunch of Clash Royale, and that's a lot better than being on TikTok because at least it shows they're competitive, and that's why their team fights hard in games. So hopefully they've been playing a lot of Clash Royale this week because it's a tough matchup against Utah.
This is why we clash.
This is why we clash to win football games. So I'm going to take Arizona State to cover. Utah may open it up a little bit at the beginning, but Arizona State, man, just finds a way to fight back into games. Even the Mississippi State game, they didn't win, but they fought back in. The TCU game, they did win, but they were down big early. Stuff like that. So give me Arizona State to cover the 5.5.
I'm also going to go Arizona State to cover the 5.5. And
Change my pick.
And I don't know who is in charge of media. They get caught having the weirdest practices. Arizona State does. They had the cowbell thing against us.
Yeah.
And now there's the video of Kenny Dillingham standing behind not Jordan Tyson, Sam Levitt with the water bottle, just spraying his hands as he
Squirting
catches
on the
the
ball.
snap. Yeah. It's just it's not actually that bad, but I just don't feel like I've seen any other practice leaks like that. So I don't know who in the Arizona State beat is going to practice and being LOL, look at this goofy
They
practice.
just try and put a lot of content out, which
I guess.
is kind of this era, right? You want for a program that isn't necessarily historically relevant, and Kenny Dillingham's talked about it and trying really hard to get fans there and stuff and get the fan base bought in. One way to do that is just put out a ton of content, get a bunch of exposure out there for people. So I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
The reason they're doing that is because it's projected to be a downpour.
I'm not saying I get
In
why
Salt
they're
Lake this
doing it.
weekend.
I just feel like other teams are also doing stuff like that, and it's not being
Alabama's
videoed and
It's
posted.
just-
used soapy balls,
Just-
but they
just
didn't post it.
coincidence.
Yeah, maybe it's just coincidence. I just thought it
and
was funny
recency
that
bias to it as well.
that's probably it too.
But the reason they're doing that is because it's supposed to be a downpour this weekend in Salt Lake. It's going to be 53 degrees at kickoff as well. What was the last time everyone actually watched Utah? Devon Dampier against Texas Tech, he was not good. In fact, he was really bad. Well, last week against West Virginia, he played quarterback, and he was 21 for 26 for 4 touchdowns. So he got his mojo back, and they found some things in the passing game. And with it being a chance for a lot of rain. Utah at home, a tremendous home field advantage. They've sold out the game, of course, again. And Utah's biggest strength being able to run the ball. While on Arizona State side, they can run the ball, but it's for the most part Jordan, Tyson, and Sam Levitt. I just think it favors Utah a ton. I think they have the advantage there, and I think Utah wins and covers 5.5 and gets back into a lot of people's rankings because a lot of people are now high again on Arizona State.
If Utah beats Arizona State, they will be re-ranked, and Arizona State will drop out, if I had to guess. Cool. Another big week. There's chance for big shifts. We're not as aligned this week as we have been in other weeks. There's a lot of split picks, 2-1, multiple different ways.
You could have a huge week.
But I could have a terrible week. We'll see if I'm actually locked in or not.
I think the only person who can't, the JP, I feel like can't have a quote unquote huge week because me and him are similar on all but we are the same on all but 2 picks.
Well, if those flip,
not to say
that's enough for him to get into first.
Yeah,
We're
that would be
close.
enough. But I wouldn't call that a huge week if that makes sense.
So we're just looking to see if I crash and burn this week, or if I just keep flying to the sun.
Yeah, those are kind of the 2 options. And
I love to be in that situation. I'm betting on myself.
I have a chance to get back to 500, so I don't see what the problem is here.
No, it's not like I'm not.
If you get back to 500, I'll just go in and shake your hand because that's well done, sir.
Heard. 8-0.
Cool. All right. Let's get to the
Next up,
NFL. Get towards finishing off this show. Obviously, we won't forget the best bets as JP's going to have another at least 2-1 week. I think this is the 3-0 week personally.
I'm down.
You do have 3 bets, right?
I do.
Okay, perfect. But we're not there yet. We have 3 NFL games to preview, and the first one is the 49ers at the Buccaneers. Both teams have been playing good ball despite battling injuries. Baker Mayfield's been great. Brock Purdy is questionable. I think we're probably going to see Mac Jones again if I have to guess because, honestly, with the way he's playing, there's no reason to rush Brock Purdy back. So that's just my opinion. But Tampa Bay is favored by 2.5 at home. Key points for this game, guys. What do y'all have?
This is a big. Sorry. I mean, Baker Mayfield back at home. This is just another opportunity for him to have a great game. The 49ers defense right now is allowing Schubert 19.6 points per game. That's 6th in the country. But the Buccaneers offense has just been consistently very good, especially in the clutch. And with a spread this close, 2.5 points, which would be a neutral site push, right? 2.5 points is the NFL home field advantage. I feel like Baker Mayfield is going to have another great game. I don't like the people who are overreacting to Mac Jones having, 2 good games at this point?
He's 3-0.
Okay, 3 good games. And saying that if Kyle Shanahan had drafted Mac Jones like he wanted to, they would have won a Super Bowl.
I disagree.
I've not seen anyone
would have made this
say that.
He is just Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy.
Exactly. He's the exact same. He's proof of why you don't pay Brock Purdy the $50-something million.
Agreed 100%.
Too late.
It is too late. Hindsight 2020. Now you have 100% proof that any quarterback in that Shanahan system can work. It's too late now, unfortunately. But wow, that really got my throat cleared. That was a lot better.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I've been rasping for the last minute and a half. I think the Buccaneers defense, I think Mac Jones could have another good game, but I just don't think it'll be enough. And I think that we're just going to be in this, the 49ers are going to be in the weird situation of being like, we have 2 quarterbacks who are the same, and we're paying one $50 million and one is here on a cheap deal. But
it happens. Something I'm looking at is can the piece together wide receiver core for the 49ers get it done for another week. They're so beat up. We had a Jake Tonjes touchdown last week. I'm blanking on his name. He had 10 receptions.
Kendrick Bourne
ends up with a 10 reception, 11 target game. Great game from him, but is that repeatable against a pretty good Bucs secondary? Because the Buccaneers have been fantastic against the run. They're one of the best teams in the National Football League at stopping the run. So you're going to have to find some passing success to win this game. Because on the flip side, it'd be pretty irrational to expect the Bucs to not score at least some points. They've been one of the better offenses. So you're going to have to score a little bit to keep pace. So can that wide receiver core keep chugging along with kind of rejects, reclaimed projects, guys in second homes. So can that happen? Do y'all think so?
I think so if Mac Jones plays.
Sure.
Mac Jones has been incredible this year. He is 900 passing yards, so 300 a game, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a game-winning drive in all 3 games. He's been incredible, and especially in the clutch as well. And he's done it with CMC's been a huge part, but he's done it with Jake Tonjes and Luke Farrell and Kendrick Bourne and Demarcus Robinson. So it has not mattered whatsoever for him. I do think he'll play well, given how well at least the quarterbacks have been playing against Tampa Bay so far. They've been, for the most part, been able to get what they want. The biggest trouble people have had against Tampa Bay is running the football.
Sure.
And so that may hurt San Francisco, but Mac Jones has thrown for 279, 284, and 342. So he's not afraid, not incapable of throwing the ball down the field, and I think he will against Tampa Bay. I don't think it really matters about the receivers either. I don't think that'll play too much of a factor. For me, biggest factor is going to be, again, Baker Mayfield in the offense versus the 49ers defense and Robert Saleh and Fred Warner. Buccaneers have generated 722 yards after the catch this season. That's the most in the NFL. The 49ers have allowed the 5th fewest yards after the catch this season. So they've been in tight coverage and then able to tackle guys and not give up big plays. That's been a large part of the Buccaneers offense, clearly, being leading the league in yards after the catch, is finding these big plays to Emeka Egbuka. And Bucky Irving had a big one against the Eagles. He probably doesn't play this weekend. I think that hurts Tampa Bay. So I really think San Francisco, again, has a great chance in this game. And I think the spread is perfect where it is. And I hope, for their sake, they start Mac Jones and not Brock Purdy. Because if they start Brock Purdy, I think this game goes poorly for San Francisco. But I think the 49ers have a great chance in this game. I think this should be exactly where it is, even on a neutral field right now. With the way these teams are playing, they get the extra days of rest. Mac Jones should be feeling better by then. Hopefully he doesn't see another dead body on Saturday or Friday, or maybe hopefully he does, because that seemed to do something for him on Thursday night.
I forgot that happened.
My seer prediction for a touchdown for San Francisco.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, imagine. No, give me Demarcus Robinson to score a touchdown this weekend. For the 49ers.
Cromie, lock that in as a starter.
Yeah, go ahead and start.
Emeka's awesome. I go Joshua Whitehead. He's been fantastic for the Bozos in fantasy.
I was about to talk about him. What do we think would be a great stat line from him for this weekend? Like, great.
Great.
100-plus yards and a
just
touchdown.
100-plus yards.
All right. If he gets 100-plus and a touchdown, I think I might have to get an Emeka jersey. Because I mocked him to the Bucs.
Okay.
And I also love him with Baker. Baker Mayfield was my guy. He made me a Browns fan from 2018 to 2021. That draft class of 2018, Baker Mayfield going first overall, super fun to watch. And the Browns kind of shafted him, shipping him out for Deshaun Watson. But is 100-plus and a touchdown jersey purchase worthy?
I don't know if that's jersey purchase worthy.
All right. So what's the line at which point it's jersey purchase? We talking 150 and 2?
I would not go both of those. I think it's maybe a 120 in one or 102 touchdowns, something like that.
Yeah.
102 touchdowns or 150 and 1?
Yeah.
Both? All right. If he gets to either of those,
I'm good with that.
Emeka Egbuka jersey will be added into the cycle. I think I'm going to start a jersey. I don't know. The lore with him, I loved him coming out of the NFL draft, as we all did, but mocking him to the Bucs and then being right about that, I think it may have to be an addition.
Don't worry, my sweet prince. I'll never take you off
Yeah,
the wall.
one he deserves to stay there.
We're close, guys. We're close to NBA. I can't wait.
Yeah, Egbuka needs to have a good day. Mike Evans, of course, won't play again. They'll have Chris Godwin. They'll have Tez Johnson has quickly become kind of a big part of their receiving core. He had a good weekend last week. But let's go ahead and get into picking this
For sure.
game.
I can start.
Go ahead.
Because you are going to want to fade what I do.
Yeah, of
as
course.
I'm 3-12 in NFL pick'ems. I love what I've seen from the 49ers, but I just also love what I've seen from the Buccaneers. And so I'm going to take the Bucks to win and cover at home, and what'll probably be a close game. But maybe Baker just does it to get another game-winning drive. Give me the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Bucks. I just at this point it's really hard to pick against them with Baker Mayfield playing the way he is. So I will also be taking the Buccaneers.
To answer your question, Andrew, Buccaneers will not be wearing creamsicle or the white ones, the white creamsicles.
I think he's
This
saying
weekend.
a creamsicle.
Would you
egg
get
jersey.
would you
I
get a
s- I see,
creamsicle?
I see.
Or would
I
you
think I
say
might
red?
have to.
It's just
Yeah.
so much better than their
Yeah, the
normal
Yeah,
creamsicles
jersey.
that would
are
be sick.
fire.
They'll be wearing their red uniforms this weekend.
Okay. Yeah, the
Against the
creamsicles look a
49ers.
lot better than that.
I think if Mac Jones starts, I think the 49ers win this game.
Okay.
But for picking perspective, I'm going to change it. Give me San Francisco plus 2.5.
Okay.
I wouldn't bet that. I would bet it if it got to 3.5.
But
But-
2.5 is typically where you want to take the team that.
Agreed. And that's why I had put Tampa Bay there at first.
He's just
Yeah.
a Mac Jones truther.
Here is my defining stat. If Mac Jones plays, Mac Jones has been pressured on just 27% of his dropbacks this season. Brock Purdy has been pressured on 46%. Translation, Brock Purdy is holding on to the ball too much, and that's why he's throwing picks, getting sacked, being put in tough spots. Mac Jones is getting the ball out. Also, that offensive line is blocking for him more because they care about him more. And so if Mac Jones plays this weekend, I think they'll block well for him against a
Sure.
good defensive front in Vita Vea and Hassan Reddick, and even Levante David. I think Mac Jones surprises, shocks the world again, and San Francisco wins this weekend. But if Brock Purdy plays, I reserve the right to change that to Tampa Bay.
Do you have any
Valid.
theories as to why they're playing better?
He's better.
Well, okay, so
Not-
matchup perspective, Brock Purdy has played against Seattle and Jacksonville, and so those are good defensive fronts. Specifically, Seattle, of course. Seattle at one point was pressuring the quarterback 50% of the time, as we talked about at one point this season. Mac Jones has played the Rams, New Orleans, and the Cardinals. New Orleans is one of the worst pressure rates in the league, so that plays a large factor in it. I think we're bottom 3 in pressure rate this season. Cardinals, same kind of story, and the Rams, though, is a good pressure front. And they got to Mac Jones. They hit Mac Jones a ton this weekend. So that stat is kind of misleading. But I do think it plays a factor. I think Mac Jones is just getting better protection because I think his teammates are fighting for him more. It almost feels like when Brock Purdy replaced a Jimmy Garoppolo, and then the 49ers started playing better because they cared about the underdog. I don't get the dynamic there, but that seems like an explanation right now. Brock Purdy got paid. Oh, boy, he's not the underdog anymore. He's not the Mr. Irrelevant. He's 4 years, nearly $50 million a year. Mac Jones is the underdog again, and I think they're blocking well and playing harder for Mac Jones because of that. So I think they'll do it again this weekend. I think they'll shock Tampa Bay, and San Francisco wins.
Sure. All right, let's get on to the next game, which is the Detroit Lions go to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are only 2-3. The Lions have bounced back very nicely from their opening weekend loss to the Packers, and they are now 4-1. Is that correct?
Who, the Lions?
Yes.
The Lions
Yeah.
are 3-1. They've already
3-1.
had their
They've
bye.
had their bye. Okay, that's what I wasn't sure
Oh,
about. They are
that's crazy.
3-1. But Kansas City is favored by 2.5 at home, so we're looking at yet another neutral field pick'em here. Some great games we're looking at this weekend. But key points for this game, guys.
I'm a liar. The Lions are 4-1.
Oh yeah, because I knew that.
Yeah.
My bad.
They only bye weeks last week. Key points to the game. Chiefs. I think it fully is on the Chiefs side here because I fully expect the Lions to just show up ready to play because they don't care. And they don't care who they're playing. They're not afraid of Kansas City. They've already won this game 2 years ago. But Kansas City's got to make up for a 14-point choke, for another one-score loss, which is now 0-3, as Sanders pointed out in our prior show today. they've got to answer the bell. They have to answer these mojo questions again. Again, we're bringing this up for like the fourth time of just why is Chris Jones not trying? Why are we complaining to the refs so much? Why is Patrick Mahomes making a rookie mistake and getting baited by Devin Lloyd and then missing a tackle and letting Devin Lloyd go 99 yards for a touchdown when you have Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown on the field? Like, they've got to answer those questions at home. They're the favorites somehow. That makes no sense to me, considering they weren't the favorite against the Ravens and they weren't the favorite against the Eagles. I don't understand the power ranking from that perspective. I think the Lions are playing better than those two teams were going into that game. And the Chiefs are playing worse than they were going into that game as well. So I don't understand that. But for me, all the onus is on Kansas City. Be productive again, the passing game like Mahomes was against the Jaguars last weekend. Convert. Quit having penalties. That's a huge one. They had 13 last week last night against the Jaguars.
Yeah.
They've got to stop doing that. And I think all of the onus is on them because I would be shocked if the Lions struggle offensively and if they don't play with a ton of confidence and they don't play well on Sunday night. I would be shocked if that happened. They would really have stomach bug must have hit the team or something.
Yeah.
Like something like that would have to happen.
I agree. I think the Lions' offense should be able to get what they want. It's Chiefs' run defense that is not as good as it was last year. They're giving the 5th most yards per rush in the league, and so it's should be a good game for David Montgomery. Should be a good game for Jahmyr Gibbs. And so then while the Chiefs have been pretty good in coverage, if they have to help in the run game, then you can open up and get creative with Amon-Ra. Maybe hit a big over the top play to Jameson Williams, stuff like that. So then can the Chiefs' offense continue to get stuff done? I think they can have some success in this game, to be honest. They passed the ball really well against Jacksonville. They just penalties killed them, and throwing the pick on the goal line killed them. But
Yeah.
Mahomes really, they had a great. He was getting what he wanted. We talked about it in the recap of that game. He was picking apart that zone. So I think they can have some success there. It's hard to be crazy consistent as an offense if you cannot run the football. And yet again, last week Mahomes was the leading rusher, and at this point, it's kind of like, why would I trust them to start being able to run the ball? Because we're 5 weeks in and they can't do it yet. And Mahomes is not Lamar Jackson, but the Chiefs did a really great job about taking away the scrambles from Lamar Jackson. And so can they just do that to Mahomes again? And then there really is just no rushing attack for the Chiefs, and it's going to be all through the air. That's what I'm worried about for them. What are you looking at, Sanders?
Sorry, I was on.
No,
Twitter
you're good.
Again.
You're good.
Did you already talk about penalties? Because that's
did.
one thing.
Yes.
Did you see the Andrew McBride comment? He says the line is rigged. It's rigged for the Chiefs to be favored.
I don't know if it's rigged. I just think for some reason they think the Chiefs are better than the Lions.
Yeah. Another thing I will say as
Which-
far as the odds go is like the
Plays
Lions
neutral.
having played 4 opponents in a row who were probably, they played the Bears. Bears are not bad, but then they played the Ravens, and that Ravens defense, they dropped 38 on them. How much does that mean? They play the Browns, win 34-10, hold the Browns to 10 points. What does that mean? And they play the Bengals and win 37-24. Maybe it's they feel like the Lions haven't played like a true. They view the Chiefs higher than those teams, and so that's why they're with the home field. They're giving them the
But
nod.
They don't because they have the Ravens. They had the Ravens as favored against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. The Lions are playing well too. You could say you're saying what does that mean for
Yeah.
those games? They kind of dominated the Ravens on Monday Night Football. Really made Lamar look bad. Had 6 sacks against Lamar. Contained
For sure.
his rushing really, really well. Against the Bears, they dominated the Bears. They scored 55-plus points, which is, I think it's the highest amount of points scored by any team this year in a game. Against the Browns, that was the number 1 opponent yards per game defense. That was the best defense from a yardage perspective in the league. They scored 34 points. They really got what they wanted. And then last week against the Bengals, the Bengals had quit. The game was literally moved off of national television because it was so bad, because the Lions were dominating, and the Bengals scored 2 touchdowns late to make it look closer than it actually was. So I think the Lions are playing really, really well right now. We just saw Kansas City go 2-3 in 5 games, and their 2 wins are against Lamar and the Ravens
And Giants.
and the Giants. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we can, like I was saying earlier, this is not a great team. This is a good team. And they can show flashes of their dynastic run. They have showed that in pretty much all of their games. They've showed at least some kind of flash of that. But in all of those games, they've also shown, man, what in the world? Kelsey dropping a ball, goes off his hands, it's a pick. It's the reason you lose the Eagles game. Against the Chargers, like, you just get torn apart by Justin Herbert in week 1. And then last week, Mahomes gets baited on the 1-yard line. And the penalties has been a huge thing. They haven't been clean. They're a good team right now. They're not a great team. I think the Lions are playing like a great team. So it's still, like, even if it was rigged, which it is, everything is scripted. So I still don't make sense for the Lions to not be favored.
Sure.
And for the fact that the spread has not moved really at all.
Maybe it's also a Mahomes back against the wall kind of game.
In fact, the spread opened at 1.5 for Kansas City and moved up to 2.5.
Crazy.
So people are betting on Kansas City.
Yes.
So,
That's probably why back against the wall game, they think he's going to get it.
yeah.
We can pick this game, though, and I'll go first. I agree with everything you've been saying, JP. I have the Lions winning this game with the prediction of the Chiefs lose this game and then just go on a bit of a heater.
Yeah,
And
Rashee
make
Rice
a run.
returns after this week.
Rasheed Rice comes back. They get a nice little Raiders-Commanders back-to-back.
Yep.
The Raiders are really bad, and then the Commanders is a game, and he's like, we have to win that one, and they'll probably get it done. And then, it gets harder from there, but I think they'll pick up some steam in it.
Yeah, you
and
go
we'll
to the Bills.
Well, yeah, but, like,
But then you get the bye week.
you get the bye week, and it's just like I think it's going to be a bit of a Chiefs run where they're back to playing great, and it's kind of like it don't really matter who we play. We're here to win, and we're going to get stuff done. So they lose this one.
Is
Turn
Rashee
it
Rice
up.
able to practice with the team while he's suspended?
No.
Okay, so he's not allowed in the facilities or anything.
No.
Okay.
Well, you have the Raiders game to ease him back in, and then we
Yeah.
can go from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Watch Geno just drop his nuts on him, and
Yeah,
it's just
Geno's
like
gonna
season over.
I agree. That's why I have drafted Rashee Rice in a couple of my leagues, and I cannot wait to insert him
I will also
next week.
pick Detroit. As someone who picked Kansas City to not win the division, the more they lose, the better I look.
All right, Jack, that's your one correct pick for the week. Although I assume you're picking the Commanders to
Bet.
cover, so I'll have to change my pick.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's get to our last game here. The Chicago Bears travel to Washington for one of the 2 Monday night games, and they're going to be looking for revenge after the whole Hail Mary debacle last season, which was quite comical. Still brings me much joy. I see that video occasionally, and it just never ceases to amaze me. We've got Dan Quinn running and jumping into people's arms. It's just it's a great moment. But anyway, Washington's favored by 4.5 at home. Bit of a hard team to get a handle on right now. Really, both of these teams I feel like are a hard team to really grasp where they stand in terms of the hierarchy of the NFL. But key points for this game, guys.
Yeah. I think a key point is the fact that Chicago's coming off a bye week, so they're rested. They're 2-2 right now. They've got a close loss to the Vikings. They got blown out by the Lions, but I wonder if the Lions just decided to turn it on after that game against the Packers and just absolutely smoked them, beat the Cowboys, beat the Raiders. Now they go into the Commanders. Commanders are still banged up, right? No, Terry still didn't play this last week. I don't know his status, but Commanders looked good against a even more banged up Chargers team. So now you go up against a healthy Bears team. What does Caleb Williams look like? I think he's can he play well? And then an opportunity for Ben Johnson to take the offense on the road against the Commanders, against an aging defense, try and pick apart that secondary. We talked about the cornerback, Lattimore, earlier in the show about how their depth there, even with him there, is not great. So can you take advantage of that with Roma Dunze, with DJ Moore, with your tight ends? Like, what does the offense look like on the road?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, like, I mean, I've mentioned it, and we've, of course, mentioned it as well a ton of times about this being like the Hail Mary revenge game. And I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't matter. That was a completely different coaching staff. And with the way that they handled that game, the end of that game, of course, with the infamous Tyreek Stevenson waving to the crowd, celebrating, and then, of course, Jaden completes the pass to Noah Brown, and the Commanders win, and Commanders season skyrockets, Bears season over. That was a completely different coaching staff, and that was a clear representation of how the coaching staff was and their ability to coach, and that's why they're not there anymore. I am hoping that that doesn't really play a factor in this game whatsoever for Ben Johnson, and that he just treats it like another game, and that Caleb and the team treats it like another game. I think it's, for me, coming off a bye week, Ben Johnson's first year as a head coach, what does his team look like off of a bye week? The great coaches are great off of bye weeks, but I don't know the stat on it, but I know it like at some point Andy Reid is like 9-0 with the Chiefs off of a bye week. That's what great teams do. They take that week of preparation, they take that week of rest, and they use it to their advantage. And if Ben Johnson's going to be the great coach that Chicago hopes him to be, this is your first opportunity. Getting the bye week, getting even an extra day of rest, playing on Monday. The Commanders just flew across the country to play the Chargers. You have a huge flight, jet lag potential there. Like the things should be leaning towards the Bears in this game. Commanders aren't necessarily healthy. Terry might play on Monday. Sam Cosmi might return as well. Noah Brown might play, but not guaranteed.
We don't need him. We got Debo.
But with Debo, yeah, they should be
Debo
fine.
and McCaffrey holding down the fort.
That's my biggest thing, though. I want to see what the Bears'
Sure.
competitive resolve is, how they play coming off a bye week. Are they prepared? Are they ready to go? Because what we've seen so far this season has been kind of a mixed bag, I'd say. Week 1 wasn't a great performance. Obviously, week 2, losing to the Lions was a terrible performance. But they quietly picked up 2 wins in the following 2 weeks. A good win against the Cowboys, and then they were a game-winning drive by Caleb, and a win is a win is a win, even though Geno was bad in that game too. You won a game on the road in what was also kind of a home field advantage, because Las Vegas has quickly become, and it's not surprising, a place for you to go watch your NFL team play, because you get to go stay in Las Vegas for the weekend and then go to a game on Sunday. That was clearly evident for the Chicago.
Sure.
I don't expect them to have any home field advantage on Monday, of course, against the Commanders.
No.
That's what I want to see. That's the key. If Chicago comes out playing hot and playing well, I like them to win this game. Of course, it's not rocket science, but of course, if they're not, they aren't going to be in a good spot. This could get ugly.
Sure. I think we're going to be in a bit of a shootout situation. Maybe not full-blown, like, both teams in the 40s. But I think both offenses are going to be able to get what they want. My key, what I'm looking at is, I talked about it in our review of the Chargers-Commanders game, is Commanders enact to kind of make the opportunistic play, make the big momentum-swinging play. And the Bears have kind of been the opposite. You'll see, that's a bad timed Caleb Williams pick. That's a bad time to bust coverage, stuff like that. So if the Commanders can just take advantage of the key opportunities, be the team to peanut punch the ball out, on a key drive, or pick off Caleb Williams when he tries to do too much, or return a punt for a touchdown, stuff like that. I think that's the way the Commanders can really take a hold of this game and win it, because I trust them more in those moments. I trust Jaden Daniels more in those moments than I do Caleb Williams. So that's a huge key piece for me.
Cool. Do we want to pick it?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to take the Bears to cover. I'm fairly confident in the Commanders winning this game. But I think this is a primed moment for a Jaden Daniels game-winning drive. led by Debo Samuel, Luke McCaffrey as the downfield targets. Ideally, it's a game-winning drive when there's like 3 minutes left, and we can use the run game, Bill Krosky, Merritt, get going. Because I think he has another big game. The Bears have not been fantastic against the run, but I think we're going to get a Jaden Daniels game-winning drive, and he could start becoming someone that Chicago fans really loathe.
I'm down. Sanders?
I'm also going to pick Chicago to cover, and I'm also, this is not like because I genuinely going to pick them for the upset. I think they are going to take advantage of the bye week and of the rest, the extra day of rest. I think Washington is going to come back from that trip out west a little banged up, like I said, missing some key pieces, potentially in Terry McLaurin, or if he's back, what is he at 100%? And I think maybe we get a breakout game from Caleb Williams. We've already seen him put up some good numbers. He had a game with nearly 300 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Can he put up another game like that, 250 plus with 3 or 4 touchdowns? I think that's one of his more recent games. It was against the Dallas secondary. But I do think that we're seeing improvement from Caleb Williams every week, more time in the Ben Johnson system, which we know works. I mean, we saw it work at Detroit. So I think the longer and longer we see Caleb Williams play for Ben Johnson, the better he's going to get. And I think coming off a bye week, I think I'm going to pick the upset.
Trey Amos, first career pick in this game.
Okay.
Which I know you're not going to love to hear. Cause
Yeah.
He's the school up north guy, but I'm feeling it.
So this will be the third week of a Monday night doubleheader. First one we had Tampa Bay game-winning drive against Houston, and then we had the Geno terrible game where the Chargers also decided to keep giving the Raiders chances. So it was a snooze fest and a really competitive game. 2 weeks ago we had Jets-Dolphins, which is surprisingly the best game of the night, and Broncos-Bengals was a literal snooze fest.
It's not. We had a gap week. It is our third week with the doubleheader.
Not 3 in a row.
Yeah. Did you say?
No,
Okay.
This is the third one.
Okay. Cool.
Of the doubleheaders with Monday night. Bills Falcons, which I will be at, and Bears Commanders. I think we're going to have 2 close competitive games. I can't wait to see the Falcons have their heart broken on Monday night. And for this game, the game that we're picking, I'm going to take the Commanders to win and cover. I think game-winning drive makes a lot of sense for Jaden Daniels. The big factor, and I think it is going to play the big factor in the second half, Jaden Daniels scrambling. The Bears give up 11 yards per scramble this season to opposing quarterbacks, and they haven't played great scrambling quarterbacks in Geno, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, and then week 1, who do they play? Schubert.
Jaden Daniels is also historically great as a scrambler, as we talked about earlier. So not a good matchup in that facet. That's a good thing to point out.
Week 1, they played J.J. McCarthy on Monday Night Football. That's
Who
right.
hurt them with his legs when
He
it
did
mattered
hurt
the
him
most.
with their legs.
But that's not necessarily his
None of those
forte.
guys' strong suit is running like it is with Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels scrambles on 20% of his dropbacks this season. I think that plays the factor in the game. I think Jaden Daniels gets to nearly 100 rushing yards and has a few key ones in the second half, and Commanders win by a touchdown.
That means I get to hold my breath a ton in this game, unfortunately.
Yes, he needs to protect himself, but I think he will use his legs to his advantage, and I think Chicago will struggle.
Sure. Cool. Well, let's get on to the last segment. JP's best bets. I'm sure he's cooked up some great stuff for us. I've already promised a above 500 week yet again. I promised it last week, and it worked out. So I'm going to promise it again as JP keeps trending back towards 500. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes, I could not agree more on the marathon, not a sprint. So we went 2-1 last week, which means we are now 8-13-1, 5 games from 500.
Is State off the no bet list?
State is now on the no bet list.
I don't know if it would take another attempt for that or not.
No, I don't plan on it. I was banking on the fact that they were 5-0 against the spread, and that was also 16.5 points. We would have covered the spread if we could have blocked for literally one more breath, one more blink of an eye. Like we'd have been covering that spread. Backdoor cover was there as well, but no, we couldn't move the ball. Credit to A&M. This week, we got 3 bets. I got 2 from the NFL this week, but I'll start with my one in college football. I bet this one it was a pick 'em. And Southern Miss opened as underdogs on their road at Georgia Southern. And the last time we saw Georgia Southern, they got crushed by JMU. And USM is undefeated after the Mississippi State game. They've been playing good football.
They are not, I don't think.
They're not undefeated. Are you sure?
I swear they lost a game because I remember being sad because
They are not undefeated
Yeah,
since
okay.
the A&M game.
they do only have one loss, and it's against, I think, App State.
Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana
is a
Tech,
really
thank
good
you.
football team. But all of that aside, I like USM to still even cover 3.5. I got it as a pick 'em, of course, which is unfortunate because I'd love to have this as a pick 'em sitting here. I don't trust Georgia Southern in this game whatsoever, with how well James Madison ran the football. I think Braylon Braxton's going to play well. Last year, Georgia Southern played essentially the same football team in playing Marshall, and it did not go well. They were lost 24-23, but Braylon Braxton was really, really good that game in a game that they had at home. This is essentially the same football team and a much, much worse Georgia Southern team. Last year's Georgia Southern team went 8-4. This year's Georgia Southern team is gonna struggle to make a bowl game. Give me USM to cover 3.5, and of course I got it at pick'em. So, but
Good for you.
We take these bets when I make the segment,
Sure.
so that the people can also bet on them. Give me USM and the Golden Eagles to upset Georgia Southern. It's still an upset, even though they're favored. Go Gata, but Golden Eagles are going to win this weekend, unfortunately. My next 2, both coming from the NFL, and I'll start with the one that will be earlier in the day. Give me the Colts minus 6.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. I can't believe this is the line, honestly. The Colts have been dominant all season. They've won games by 27, 24, and 25, and also won a game by 1 against the Broncos. They are an Adonai Mitchell fumble away from being 5-0 and scoring 34 points per game. And Arizona is inventing ways to lose games. The way they lost that game last week, there's just no way they're going to have any energy this weekend against a Colts offense with Daniel Jones that is 4th in passing yards per game and Jonathan Taylor, who is 1st in rushing yards per game. I just don't see how this game goes
Sure.
well for Arizona. And the fact that it's 6.5, that's one of those spreads I love betting is 6.5. I got it at -6, but I would also take 6.5. I'd even take 7.5. I like the Colts to blow out another team, another inferior team, and I think they'll blow out Arizona, who's coming off, potentially the most emotional low possible with the way that they choked that game against the Tennessee Titans, who shouldn't even have a head coach right now in Brian Callahan, but you gave Brian Callahan a win somehow. Colts minus 6.5. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Cook on Sunday at noon on Fox. And then the final one, Sunday Night Football, the game we predicted earlier. How is Detroit an underdog at Kansas City? It makes no sense to me. One, they are playing better than the teams that were favorites going into Kansas City, being the Eagles and Ravens at this point in the season and compared to that point in the season. 2, Kansas City's playing worse than they were playing at that point in the season for those 2 games too, I'd argue. They kind of got a cupcake win, it felt like, against the Ravens, where the Ravens just kind of gave up in the second half. And in the Giants game, they were very close in that game. And nearly didn't cover the spread, if not for Russell Wilson fixing the game and throwing the ball out of the end zone 4 times for no reason and not even caring to win. Detroit should be favored in this game, at least by a point. And I like Detroit to win the game just because they do not care about Kansas City. They're going to go out there and cook. And I get 2.5 points as well. So give me Detroit to win and cover. I can't believe this spread has been bet up to 2.5 too.
Yeah.
That's just so surprising for me. This looks like a 3-0 week.
I firmly agree.
The one I feel the least confident in is Southern Miss. because Gata. But I like 3-0 this weekend.
Sure.
And we'll get back to 11, 13, and 1. As always, bet responsibly. This is the first time I've ever said that, but I'm going to start saying that now because I've, again, seen some horror stories on Twitter of people who have lost everything they've ever owned.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Bet
So-
responsibly, and JP is not liable for any losses while following his best
Yeah,
bets.
next week we'll have a little crawl at the bottom that says
But it does not matter because he's going 3-0 this week. I love the picks.
parlay it, put everything you have on it.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, bet
Yeah.
responsibly.
It's a joke.
All right.
Funny story about sports betting. Sorry,
boy.
before you get to the outro.
Sure.
I'm in class. I was a sports administration major in college. I'm in my class, sports ethics, and we're talking about sports gambling. And my professor, this was like 4 years ago, was like, "Do any of y'all have y'all ever sports bet?" And some of us raised our hands. And he's like, "Well, how do you feel about it? Do you think it's wrong, right?" And then he asked, "Do any of y'all know the number, the emergency hotline for sports gambling?" And I raised my hand, and he was like, "You might have a problem." And I was like, "No, it's just 1-800-GAMBLER. It's literally you
Yeah,
see that
it's
in a
not that
commercial
bad.
one time and you have it memorized." But that was a funny thing. Love that professor, but he was like, "You might have a problem."
Sure.
Now we can get to the outro.
Let's get out of here. This is our second show of the day. We've been here a minute.
5 hours.
Thanks to all who tuned in to either show, either live and participated in the chat, live and just watched, or listening to the recordings post, live. We greatly appreciate it. It means a lot. And we'll be back for you all Sunday to recap all this crap. These great games is not crap.
I won't be here, though.
You sure we
He'll
don't
be on
want
the
to sit
phone.
here for 10 more minutes to hit the over on 5 hours?
I'm sure.
No.
As I said, 4 hours, 50 minutes.
Great line.
You said-
Wow, he just drilled it.
Yeah, you said 55. Did you say 450 or
I
455?
don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
you were closer than me.
See y'all.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging out. Peace.
See ya.